Hello and welcome to the XCAL Racing Series, and tonight the Go Fast Games 300 from the Thompson International Speedway in Thompson, Connecticut. 300 laps at this 5/8 mile speedway for race number 18 on the inaugural XCAL Racing Series campaign. Welcoming you into the LSRTV broadcast booth as always on Thursday nights. My name is Evan Pozzocco. Joining me up in the broadcast booth is the crew once again. We have Carl Jones, Lance Mead, and also Paul Coleman going to be joining us down on pit road, running around finding out some storylines. But first and foremost, Carl, welcome back up to the broadcast booth here this evening. Good to be back. I had to step away for a week there, but we're going short track racing. These guys know their way around a straight stock, and 300 laps should be exciting as always.
Oh, this is definitely going to be an exciting race. Yeah, we just hope we're making through here in Maryland. We have some heavy storms that are rolling through our areas here as of the past 48 hours. Didn't have any power at all yesterday, and we just got our internet back up and running here today. So let's hope we can keep everything connected and we'll go racing.
That's the plan. We're hoping for everything to run nice and smooth tonight and bring you flag-to-flag coverage of these 300 laps before we crown a winner at the end of the night. First and foremost, before we step on to tonight's race, take a look back at last week's result with the trailer-made Brands 300 at Lanier for race number 17. The final finishing results, Dustin Adams coming home in the number 1 spot, and the number 13 machine takes the win. Michael Cozy Jr. walking away with second. Jeff Ramsdale coming home in third. Spencer Preet fourth. Alex Krasper coming home in the number 5 spot. Aaron Keith finishing 6th. 7th belonging to Sandra. Elliott Leach coming home in 8th. John Batista 9th. And William Perry rounding out the top 10. And we have Paul Coleman standing by down there on pit road with our last week's winner.
Hey, thank you, Evan. Yeah, we're down here speaking with the driver of the number 13 Little Tree vehicle, Dustin Adams. Dustin, how do you feel coming in this week? How was last week? That was your first breakthrough win in XCAL. How's the week been?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I love the win. It was such a great week. I got a lot of support from family and friends and everybody, and just them bragging on me and everything. It was a really good week. But coming in this week, I think I have a pretty strong car. I just hope to stay out of trouble. I don't know, just stay out of trouble, get up there in top 10, and try to finish it out.
Practice, you actually were the winner of Heat 5. It took you a little while to get down there. How's the week been treating you for setup-wise? How are you handling turn 4?
Yeah, turn 4 is really tricky for I'm sure everybody around here. It's a lot different from 1 and 2. You can't just floor it when you get right to the middle of 3 and 4. You have to get sort of like Darlington. You got to get on the gas and you got to check or get off the gas a little bit, and then you can get back on it so you don't hit that wall. But yeah, turn 4 is really tricky. I just gotta keep it clean, don't hit that wall, and just stay positive.
All right, well, thank you. There should be gridding here in about a minute or so, so we'll let you get going to your car. And before you go, though, we have to thank your sponsor, Little Trees, for setting up the entire league with free Little Trees this week. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and I'd also like to thank all my teammates over at SPR. Forgot to thank them last week. They're really helping me out. I'm just glad to have them with me.
All right, thank you. And Evan, back up to you.
Definitely thank you there for talking with last week's winner, Dustin Adams, in the number 13 machine, as our 30-minute warm-up session before 300 laps here tonight has come to a close. And real quick, going to talk you through the top 5 in the championship standings. Michael Cozy Jr. on the number 1 spot, but interesting enough to note that he is not currently in the sim, having a little bit of connection issues with some weather in the area, and is not currently being shown on track. He has disconnected. He has 15 points over Mark Arthur. Those are the top 2 in the championship battle that have a big gap over third on back. We'll go more in depth with that later. But now to run you down the starting grid. On pole position in the number 27 machine, going to be Spencer Preet at outside row number 1 to 13, who we just spoke to. Dustin Adams looking to make it back-to-back.
And in the third position, we have the number 24 of Cy Andrea. And in the 88, we have Michael Cozy Jr. If he's able to get in here, that's going to be awesome.
Luke Turpin in the 454 machine is going to be starting inside row 3, position 5. In the 73 machine of Randy Hefner, going to be starting in 6th.
And in the 7th position, we got the 03 of Richard Holiday. And in the number 8 position, the number 4 of Brock Colson.
Row number 5, 9th starting position, belongs to the 54 of Brandon Monsive, and Elliott Leach in the 42 rolls off and rounds out the top 10.
And number 11, we have the 08 of Chuck Smith. And in the number 12 position, we have the number 5 of Derek Colson.
William Perry in the 70 machine rolls off for the unlucky or lucky number 13th starting position, alongside David Nana in the 21 starting in position number 14.
Well, I'm going to destroy this name here. The number 15th position, the 193 of Joshua Bourget. I'm not going to even try that last name because I don't want to really embarrass myself. And in the number 16th position, we have the number 74 of Alex Grasper.
Number 7 rolls off in 17th. That's Rod Weston. And Latarvis Travis Brown, the number 33, rolls off in position 18 as the field continues to work their 2 pace laps coming off the corner.
In the 19th position, we have the number 23 car of Stephen Witten. And in the 20th position, we have the number 55 of Christopher Moody.
BDJ Zeller in the 00 starts 21st. 22nd belongs to Aaron Keith.
23rd position is number 19 of Aaron Hillebush. And 24th position is the number 8 of Randy Gerard.
Mark Arthur has to start from the back of the field as he failed to complete minimum practice laps so far in this week, so that's a penalty for him. He currently being shown 25th. 26th is Ryan Borges in the speed stick gear, number 32, and then rounding out the field, 27th and shotgun is Jeremy C. Poole. That rounds out your 27 cars. The pace car hits pit road in 3 and 4. Field in the hands of the Kool-Aid 27. Spencer Preet, he's on the gas at a corner number 4, and we are racing. For the XCAL Racing Series, the Go Fast Games 300 is green. Down into turn number 1, top 3 have single filed it out, and it's side-by-side duking it out for 4th, and the 4 car is able to pick that up. Brock Colson on the outside lane.
Spencer Preet got a nice little start there or a nice little jump on the start there, right in front there of Dustin Adams. Dustin Adams looks like he's just going to be happy to fall right in behind here and just run the first, looks like about 5 or 6 cars, maybe up to about position number 6, 7, 8 position here in single file. So these guys are getting smart, just single filing around here, going to feel this out because we got a pretty good long race here tonight.
The 54 of Brandon Monsive started in position number 9, went to the inside lane through the corner, and just dragged the brakes all the way. He's currently being shown in 23rd, as it appears that he may have just tried to use a little bit of strategy and drop to the back of the pack because he is now back on pace. But he and his number 54 machine have dropped to the tail end of what has now become a single file line all the way throughout the field. You talked about the start that the 23 of Spencer Preet got up the front. He right now sits with about 5 car lengths gap over the 24 of Cyandra in second, and in the 13 of Dustin Adams, he was forced to start on the outside of that first row, which gave the machine in front of him, that 24 machine of Cyandra, the advantage from starting on the inside of row number 2. So 24 was able to sneak around Adams there, going down into 1 on the start of this race. So Dustin Adams has fallen back to 3rd, last week's winner, but he looks like he could be under attack here soon. The 4 of Brock Colson knocking right on the door that time at 4.
Right now we're sitting here watching Spencer Preet here from the lead. He's not that far behind right now, the last place driver of, and we're under caution.
Yeah, caution on the racetrack, and one car is down on the grass at a turn number 2, and it was a 2-car incident, it appears, in turn number 1 and 2. Contact between the 08 machine and the 70. The 08 of Chuck Smith in turn 1, riding slow on the high side. The 70 machine of William Perry trying to get around him and got sideways and just made a little bit of a correction move, and the 08 gets spun because of it. 70 has to make some evasive maneuvers, and that gap just opens up in time for those leaders on the pack to be able to sneak through. But that incident down there in turn number 1 comes towards the back of the pack and not really in the middle of all the traffic, but that will put us under our first caution of the race. That was on lap 5 for those guys as they head through turns 1 and 2. So under the yellow for the first time, lights on top of the Ford First Mustang pace car. Spencer Preet still in control of this race in the 27 Kool-Aid machine. He's led all the laps to this point since the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, it looked like they're. I was watching that. I kind of backed it up a little bit earlier there, where he spun. He hit the wall actually coming out of. He came out of turn 2 there a little bit and just kind of really had slowed up. Never got it back under full control. It was kind of fishtailing down the straightaway there. Going into the next turn, he still wasn't under control, and the 07 just or the 70 car, excuse me, just happened to get right into the back of Chuck. So it was really nothing intentional, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more of that today, because this is a really hard track to get around, real tight quarters. Passing is going to be very, very interesting to watch today.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room here to race, and it's a very rough racetrack, so several drivers are down on pit road for damage and whatnot, and Paul, I think you got an update with that.
Yeah, so far we've had the 54, 73, 19.7, 12, 32, 00 have all come down just to take top off on fuel. The 70 is getting some work done, and we're waiting on the tow truck. Chuck Smith, actually, in the 08, had to be towed, and we're waiting on the tow truck to bring him back to pit road. He will lose many laps, unfortunately, for that.
And these street stocks are much different from a Gen 6. Typically, you're going to see guys come down every chance they can get if you're driving a cup car and try to get tires. Not with these street stocks. These street stocks arguably are even faster when they have the old tires. So don't expect them to come down and get 4 fresh tires every time down the pit lane. Not going to be happening, because these setups favor a little bit of older tires, and the street stocks are also pretty durable compared to some of the other cars here. So you can make a little bounce off of the wall there coming off the corner. We heard that turn 4 could be one of the troublesome spots tonight. So these cars can take a beating and keep on chugging. So that's something to keep an eye on tonight, as this race could end up getting a little physical as the night goes on. Again, still very early here. We have gotten the 1 to green, so we're going to go green on lap 11. That's still 290 laps to go. So the night is still young here with the XCAL Racing Series, the Go Fast Games 300 from Thompson. At the back of the pack, Chuck Smith has now pulled his 08 back on track, 4 laps down. And now the lights are going to be thrown back on the pace car from race control. So at least one more circuit around as everybody tries to get grouped back up and figure out where they need to go in line. A little bit of confusion back in the pack as everybody gets sorted out. Out of the 26 cars that did take the green flag, it was a 27-car field. But again, Michael Cozy Jr. unable to stay in the race due to some connection issues with weather in his area. Only a 15-point lead over Mark Arthur entering tonight's race, not on track. So 26 cars took the green flag. 24 of them remain on the lead lap. William Perry in the 70 machine sits 25th, 2 laps down. And Chuck Smith is 4 laps down in his 08 machine in the number 26 spot at the back of the pack after having to take the tow truck ride, get the tow back to pit road under that caution. Field in 3 and 4, pace car to pit road. The 27's on the gas, and we are back green flag racing, and Spencer Preet is going to clear this 24 car of Cyandra going down into the corner. Does anybody challenge for second? Do we see a crossover as the 27 slides high through 1 and 2? Not quite, but top 3 bumper to bumper, and 2 wide from there on back.
Yeah, once again, a really nice start there by Spencer Preet. He was able to get a nice little jump out there on Sal Andreas. Sal Andreas is going to take a look down here to the inside. He's going to take better of that. He's going to move back up here onto the outside. You saw somebody bounce off the wall coming out there at turn 4. Like I said, turn 4 is going to be our problem turn, I think, tonight. We're going to see a lot of guys going up there and bouncing off the wall. But as you said, these cars are pretty tough. They can take a beating. As far as the tires go, yeah, these tires can go forever. We saw that. Unfortunately, I wasn't here for last week's race, but I was here for for the road course back in Charlotte, and we've seen our winner go from green to checkered without changing rubber on that car. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody goes with that kind of a strategy tonight with a 300 lap race on this very, very abrasive racetrack surface.
Yeah, it takes a lot of thinking to complete a pit stop here. Even if you just want gas and you're not going to take any tires, you're not going to sit down there for 12 seconds to get a full fuel can here. It takes a lot longer to fill up these street stocks. So pit stops could be longer if we see a long green flag run, which this race could definitely have the possibility of it as the field starts to fan out. As we continue to work a couple laps after going back green from a recent caution. Flag Spencer Preet, still the dominant car, and he's pulled away by about half a second over Cyandra in the number 2 spot in the 24. Close battle going on for third. The 4 of Brock Colson's under attack from the 03 of Richard Holliday, that Doge machine in fourth, knocking on the door. So second, third, and fourth really close together, bumper-to-bumper traffic. And then from fourth on back, they've kind of opened up about a second gap over the rest of the field. So top 4 starting to pull away, and Spencer Preet trying to make it a one-man show up front. He just made it 7/10.
One of these things that these guys, especially these drivers here in the back of the pack, have to realize this is a very short track. These guys are making it around the track here 22 seconds flat, just about. Almost actually just about 23 seconds. So you can go lap down pretty quickly here. So you need to be very aware of where the leader is at all times, because yeah, these guys right here right now in the back of the pack, we got Brandon Cruz, and we have a car that's spun around the 52 car. I didn't see that.
Yeah, Jeremy Poole looks like he got a little bit of help in turn 3 and 4, just barely. 52 got a nudge, and that caused a stack up. I know the 32 got into the back of the 12. Looks like the 74 might have got a piece of it. 52 spun it out down the front straightaway, got back going. No caution. The green flag condition still remains out on the racetrack, but that is going to make Jeremy Poole the last car on the lead lap.
Been watching the number 4 position here, the number 3 car of Richard Holliday. He has been blinking in and out a little bit. He must be having a little bit of connection issues. He's going to keep an eye on his connection here, because that's kind of scary on these little short tracks. You know, you got a guy in front of you, he blinks out, you don't know where he's going to come back, and it could spell catastrophe out there. We have our tech guy here from Small Town Computers, Lance Mead. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Carl?
I'm doing pretty good. I know we talk about this all the time, but it's something that you might have some new viewers out there who have never heard. What is one of the things that could cause these guys to blink out like that?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, there's some storms there, so you can have internet connection problems there, obviously. But there's several different things. Basically, it comes right down to just a poor internet connection is really what it boils down to.
So basically, one of these guys can blink out, and when they come back on the track, they could actually be what we call inside of another car. What could does that really cause any trouble with the other driver out there, or will that straighten itself out eventually?
Well, the way the servers work, they're kind of synchronized, up with the each player's computers. However, something like that happens, you come up in there and it's kind of hard for it to correct it. And yes, it can definitely be a huge problem for an opponent.
As always, I want to thank Lance Mead for stopping in here. He's from Small Town Computers, and he's always a really interesting person to talk to. He knows the ins and outs of these computers. You know, like they do in NASCAR, they split the car in half. Well, he likes to split the computer in half and kind of tell us what goes on inside of a computer during these races. And really interesting stuff that he has for us.
And definitely that can mean even more and be much more important, considering, again, the recent turn of events that happened just before the green flag, where Michael Cozy Jr. in the 88 machine did enter the sim. He was qualified fourth for this race on his finishing in those heat races, and then actually has left the server. He dropped the connection to that because of storms in his area, we hear, and he has not since returned. So obviously that's more extreme than blinking in and out. The fact that he's going to finish 27th in this race, or a DN did not even start. It's a tough break for Michael Cozy Jr. Obviously that can be major implications on the championship. He only had 15 points over Mark Arthur entering tonight. And again, this is race number 18 on their season. Only 2 more to go. USA, and then the big plate race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is the XCAL Racing 450 to kick off, or rather finish off, this inaugural XCAL Racing Series. That race is circled on everybody's calendar. That's going to definitely be an exciting one for sure. Lap 26 currently in the works for Spencer Preet. He has opened up his gap to 0.8 of a second over the 24 of Cyandra. Brock Colson still in third in that 4 car. he's still tracing the back bumper of the 24. Hasn't quite made a move on him yet, but only about half a car length separate those guys, second and third on the racetrack right now.
Well, right now, the only thing that's separating the leader and getting into some more lap traffic here is about 5 seconds. He is coming up quickly on the back of Randy Hefner. Randy Hefner is 18 seconds back, which is only about 4 or 5 seconds, maybe that 19 seconds, is about 4 or 5 seconds ahead of our leader. So he's in danger of going a lap down here soon. So here within the next few laps, Spencer Preet is going to have to be dealing with a bunch of lap traffic because we have cars like Brandon Cruz and Randy Hefner, Rod Whitson, they're all sitting back here getting ready to go a lap down. So these guys are going to be playing some, have something to say about who's going to be leading this race, I have a feeling, by the end of it.
And you mentioned coming with the territory and a track that is only 0.63 miles long, or 5/8 of a mile in length. There is not a lot of room. You could argue that it's a very wide racetrack, at least it might look wide. The groove really isn't that much. You get up to the top, you almost kind of get to a plateau there, and that's how you find yourself in the wall. But this racetrack is really rough. We saw that first incident there. It wasn't even between two guys that were, going at it, during each other really for a position. It just depends on if you have to modify your line a little bit. You think the guy's going to do one thing, he does the other. You can easily find yourself in trouble. So that could be something that brings Spencer Preet back to the 24. The gap is now closed from that 0.8 that we mentioned to 6. And again, the 27, you see he scrapes the wall a little bit. Spencer Preet gets in the outside wall just a little bit. These are some tough race cars. They can handle it, but that gap is continuing to shrink between first and second as it is now closed into just under 0.6. That 24 may be trying to knock on the door here as these laps wind down, maybe getting some heat in those tires, and is liking that race cars.
Something kind of interesting I've been noticing here, these guys don't get down here too close to the yellow line. It looks like they like to run right up around halfway up the track. So they're not really using a lot of the lower part of the racetrack.
And we got a spin on the racetrack. Yeah, caution is going to fly, and trying to figure out where the incident was. We see smoke in turn number 4. We're going to slow him down for our second caution of the race. So just as we were starting to talk about, hey, they might be trying to work into a long green flag run, they're liking the way the tires are going, we have to group everybody back up once again. So pace cars going to pull out down the back straight again. Pit road is kind of an interesting place here as well, where you got to enter and exit pit road. But taking a look as we try to get a replay up of that incident, and we're hearing the 8 of Randy Gerard had those problems, and it appears that it was into turn number 3, or actually starts down the back straightaway, a big checkup. He has to get on the brakes as everybody does in front of him. The 00 gives him a little bit of a tap, or a little bit more than a tap, we'll say. PDJ Zeller gets into the back of the 8, and the 8 tries to hang on to it, and Gerard spins it out going down into 3, does a 360, and actually ends up nosing it into the outside wall. So he almost saved that race car, just over-rotate a little bit trying to hang on, and some front-end damage for the 8 machine on Randy Gerard. But back under for our second caution of the night, and Syandra is now in the number 1 position.
One driver who was really happy to see that was these guys, well, actually a bunch of them that were sitting back here in the back. We had about 4 or 5 cars who were really, really close to going a lap down.
27 of Spencer Preet gave up that number 1 spot. He came down pit road as everybody tries to get back sorted out. Do we have an update from pit road?
Yeah, it appears Spencer came down. We had Aaron Hillebush, Mark Arthur, Aaron Keith, and Ryan Borges taking advantage of the yellow early, and then Spencer Preet, Luke Turpin, Christopher Moody, and Aaron Hillebush also have come down the second time around for additional service, assuming fuel only on all stops.
So fuel and no tires yet to this extent. And again, you may even see some people, again, you were talking about there, Carl, that when last time me and you were back in the booth, it was the first race here on LSRTV at the Charlotte Road Course, and we saw our leader go flag to flag without taking tires, and there were some guys that made a tire stop halfway through. So interesting to see what the strategy call will be tonight. And again, it can really make a big difference if this thing has a very long green flag run. You see green flag pit stops. The fuel cap is 30% on these machines, so that's 6.6 gallons of fuel is what they can pack these machines up with. So you can go about 60 to 70 green flag laps, so working our second caution of the race, save a little bit of fuel under the yellow flag, but 60 to 70 of green flag racing. So just to kind of keep an estimate on where everybody's going to be pitting, that would be I mean, you figure if they go 70, they can go 71, 40, 210. That's going to be just short of a 3-stop strategy. Will we see somebody try to come in and fill those things up with fuel and try to stretch that? That's what these guys are benefiting here, as actually race control going to delay the caution, so one more time around. But that could make these guys able to make this on 3 more stops. You figure they pitting right here, right now, at lap 35. 3 more stops, and they could make it 300 laps to the end of this race.
Well, you got to wonder here really quick if some of these guys aren't playing this race backwards and going from where it's going to be their shortest run to their longest run, and hopefully be able to not have to pit there when everybody else does. That's what it kind of seems like to me. They're kind of running this race from the end of the race to the beginning of the race, and that's how they're gonna do their short pit first.
And Luke Turpin is going to be given a black flag in the 454 machine. The running actually up inside the top 10. He's going to get a black flag for excessive contact under the yellow flag. So he will be thrown to the EOL end of the longest line. So top 5, the only on track that have not made service yet tonight. And right as the pace car, and actually the pace car does pull down pit road and cuts back out onto the track and nearly takes out the cone. The cone is okay. Pace car back out one more time around as lights once again are extinguished as race control, just making sure that everybody can properly drop back again. When you get to 1 to go, that's when you get all the wave bys and the drop to the back of the lines, but this racetrack really isn't that big. You don't really have a lot of time to do so. So on both cautions, we've seen race control delay the green flag just a couple of times to make sure everybody gets back in their correct position. When we go green this time, it will be lap 40 coming off of our second caution. 24 of Cyandra, the control car, on the inside lane in 3 and 4. Pace car down to pit road. All is good. 24 is on the gas. Green flag flies, and we are side by side for second. The 03 of Richard Holiday is challenging, and he backs out of it to allow the 4 of Brock Colson to remain in position number 2 through corners 1 and 2.
Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a challenge for the lead here. That ended quickly. He decided, Brock Colson decided better that one. He's going to pull back up behind Salandre and just kind of follow along through here for a few laps. He's going to, looks like he's right up on the rear end of Salandre, though. Salandre did not get quite as big of a lead.
454 of Luke Turpin has to come down pit road. His penalty will issue him a stop and go. Carly, we're talking about the 4 of Brock Colson. He looked to the inside at turn number 2 coming off that restart. Thought better of it. You kind of saw his car lurch forward and then hang back as he was just holding back on that gas, not figuring it was not worth it yet to try to make that kind of a move. He gets right up to the bumper. The 24 of Cyandra through 1 and 2 maybe forces a mistake to the inside. Side by side for the lead at a turn number 2. The 4 has a nose and he backs out of it. Does not work. Did not have the position and he had to gamble for it. And Brock Colson, after trying to go to the lead, is going to drop from second back to third, as the 03 now of Richard Holiday is the one that traces the back bumper of race leader 24 of Cyandra. He now sits in his Dogecoin machine in second.
Well, that was a sporting move there by Brock Colson. He got up there beside these guys, and he knew that he wasn't going to be able to make the pass. He wasn't going to be able to get slowed down enough, and he, instead of trying to take somebody out in the turn there, he like a gentleman, just backed off and let those guys have the position. You don't see that a lot in oval track races. You see that more in road races. If you don't have the position, you know, instead of forcing the issue, it's kind of early right now to be forcing kind of issues anyway. You don't need to be banging up your car and causing anybody else any harm out there, because you now know that you have a fast enough car that you can get up beside these guys and be able to make these passes.
Top 3 are once again trying to pull away from this field. Travis Brown in the 33 is the first car, kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. Top 3 within 0.4 of a second of each other, then 1.3 seconds back from race leader is Travis Brown into number 33 machine, sitting in 4th after starting in position number 18. And then 5th is Elliott Leach, almost over a second back from Travis Brown in 4th. So top 5 starting to stretch it out, but it seems like on all our restarts and the drop of the initial green flag, it is the top 3 or 4 that are able to kind of work as a pack, as a group, and try to pull away. But remember, the top 5 guys on that last restart, the only guys that didn't pit, nearly contact up front, as the 03 is now stuck at the bottom. Richard Holiday took a look to the inside of Cyandra now as they're in 3 and 4. but at a 2, he looked to the inside and then wasn't there and nearly came back up into the 4, and Colson let him back in line. So things getting racy up front as that 03 of Holiday wants to go up to the number 1 spot. Again, there are bonus points for leading laps, leading the most laps, and all that kind of stuff. So you really don't just want to ride around in second. You want to get up there, lead some laps, and try to walk away with a couple more points.
And we're back under caution again here.
Yeah, caution, something happens in turns 1 and 2. See some smoke up against the turn 2 wall. Going to try to find the cause of that caution. It looks like one car had some help into the wall. The 193 spins it out in 1 and 2 and riding the high lane, and the 74 machine just throws it in there. That is Alex Krasper, and trying to look back to see a lap before if there was any history in that. Looks like the 74 just drove it in way too hot and drove into the 193 of Joshua Bonkowski and spun him out. 193 was able to correct it, but both him and the 74 are going to pick up some damage, and that will once again put us back under the yellow flag as we have a couple more takers on pit road.
Yeah, we got all the leaders, 24, 03, the 4, the 33, and the 42 are finally making their first pit stop of the day, taking fuel only.
I'm kind of wondering here if the 193 of Joshua is not wanting to get this car down on pit road, because he has a very significant bit of damage here on the front quarter panel of the car, and you got to wonder if the toe out on that driver's side wheel isn't messed up after he took a really, really hard lick to the side.
These cars have been known to get knocked off walls, get beaten and banging, and be able to keep on going now as the guys lead them off of pit road. Again, pit road, you don't exit going out and then back up into turn 1, or you don't have to stay on the apron and then merge in the back straightaway. You take that access road kind of through the middle of the infield and out to the middle of the back straightaway. So that's where those guys that have just made some service come out here under the caution flag. A couple guys still on pit road. David Nannon is still down there as well under the caution flag. Going to run you down through the top 10 now in the points. We went briefly over the top 3 at the start of it. Again, Michael Cozy Jr., 2,851 up at the top of the pile. Again, 15 points over Mark Arthur. Aaron Keith is third, 237 back. Fourth is Spencer Preet, 300 back. 321 back, Alex Krasper in fifth. Aaron Hillebush is sixth, 399 back. 461 back is Brock Colson in seventh. Ryan Borges, eighth, is 549 back. 607 back, Richard Holiday, we just talked about him. He's ninth. And Dustin Adams, last week's winner, is 623 back, rounding out the top 10. And the team standings as well, it is all Rolling Thunder Racing up at the top of the pile. They sit with a total of 4,676 points amongst their drivers. Fatheads Racing is second in the team points, but 315 back. And then third in the team points, Mudhole Motorsports, 395 back, or just about 80 or so back from Fatheads Racing in second. But really a dominant team in Rolling Thunder Racing, being up at the top of the championship standings, and they have been for the last few races. That team consisting of Aaron Hillebush, Mark Arthur, and Aaron Keith. So Rolling Thunder dominating the point standings after 17 races. Michael Cozy was starting to gain in the individual championship, but again, having some trouble with the connection here tonight. That could be a big story once we see how the points all shake out here after tonight's race.
Well, we got Mark Arthur sitting up here in the first place. Now he's going to get ready to take the green flag, and he's going to lead these guys off into turn 4 for the first time tonight. I got a quick question here once again for Lance as soon as we go back to green. Let's get her back to green, though.
Yeah, the 44 of Aaron Keith is going to find himself in second as the lights have gone off on the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car up at the front of the field. 12 is going to be the control car, as you mentioned. Mark Arthur, who was entering tonight's race trying to make up a 15-point gap, had to start actually at the back of the field. He had the grid there because he did not complete the minimum amount of practice laps. They have to complete about 80 laps of practice throughout the week. He did not do so, so he was given that penalty. He now finds himself in the number 1 spot. Coming for the green through 3 and 4. Pace car is on pit road side by side. The 12 car gets to the gas. The 44 of Aaron Keith is right there on the door, and Keith is going to beat him to the start-finish line. Can he clear him? No, they don't. And this is the most competitive restart that we've seen all night long. The 12 of Mark Arthur gets it on the bottom, and the 23 of Stephen Wetton on the bottom also gets a great run at it too as everybody slid it up the hill. The 23 is going to move up to the number 2 spot.
Kind of looks like Arthur either missed a shift or spun the tires there a little bit on that restart, because he did not get a good restart whatsoever. I don't know how Aaron Keith did not get around him, but Mark Arthur was able to pull it back up here in the front, and he has been able to pull into about a little over a half a second lead. Don't exactly know what happened there. I'd have to look back inside the car to see if maybe he might have missed a shift the way it looked.
And the 44 is sliding. Aaron Keith gets back in line, but not after a little bit of contact for a couple laps as he got into the door of Stephen Wetton, who sits second now a couple of times. 44 of Aaron Keith now slides back in line to about position number 4. I want to say we're bumper to bumper for second. Spencer Preet in the number 27 machine, after leading a lot of laps in the opening portion of this race, is knocking on the door of the Good Wrench 23 of Stephen Wetton, who sits second. 27 is going to go to the outside lane. Spencer Preet going to make it side by side. 23 yields to him on the bottom, and now Spencer Preet works his way back up into the top 2, and maybe the 44 of Aaron Keith going to try to make a move with the 23 as well down the back straightaway. Lap 57 in the works. That battle continues to rage on. Top 3 being very, very racy as we go on board. The Aaron Keith driving it down into the corner. 23 machine just in front of him, and then you see Mark Arthur, race leader, is inside. He is 1.2 seconds ahead of Spencer Preet. So from this perspective, Aaron Keith in the 44, you're looking at about a 2-second gap to that 12 machine of Mark Arthur up at the front of the field in his black, red, and white number 12 machine, as he runs in race lead and continuing to try to pull away with that 27 Spencer Preet. We know he has a fast machine, started on pole position, was third fastest actually in the practice session, continues to try to reel him in that purple and black 27 Kool-Aid machine. Scoring's good update this time by as the 27 got real sideways and looks like he got some of the wall there at a 4, and it's down to 1 second, the gap for those spots. And a little bit more battling for 4th. Stephen Wetton in the 23 machine has dropped from 3rd to 4th, as Aaron Keith in the 44 has been able to make that pass. So 23 of Wetton went up to the front of the field, started at 19th. He is only sliding back since the drop of the green flag. Ryan Borges, the next driver to try to pounce on that.
Sitting back here with the 15th position, the 193 of Bonkowski. I was kind of wondering if he was going to be having problems. Right now, he is just a moving chicane. He started this restart up around the 6th position. He's already dropped it all the way. He's all the way back to the 15th position right now. Okay, I'm understanding that he was actually spun out at the beginning of that restart there. I did not see that, but still with that damage, he's still a moving chicane out here. Like I said before, he's really slow. He's not able to get into the turns quite as nicely as these other guys, and he's pushing up the track really bad. I'm wondering if that damage isn't showing up here a little bit as he's trying to get into these turns.
He's got some pretty substantial left front damage, and it's not to the point where in the 193 he's like a lap car, and he's really slow, but he's just missing a little bit of pace that's causing him to drop back. The 193 of Joshua Bonkowski, that time by, still scored in 15th, as he has a little bit of a blinking issue there. We understand him and Christopher Moody got together. The 55 of Moody sits in 9th position. They made some contact, and it was the 193 who got the short end of the stick. Now as contact in the corner, the 13 is going to get into him and spin him out. That's Dustin Adams. 193 spins it as Dustin Adams in the 13 tried to go for the pass, and they went 3 wide there. No caution flies, as the 193 is going to now have to limp with damage. And now Dustin Adams, after having a good starting position, started outside pole, trying to make a back-to-back wins, is going to have a somewhat damaged race car. He drops back nearly to 20th spot.
Back up here in the front here with the number 12 Arthur machine. He is now up to a 1.5 second lead. He's actually pulling this out. Right now he is running right directly behind the... just lost my train of thought there. He's actually running right behind the 193, and he's able to get around him without too much of a problem. So it didn't hold him up too awful much. He did lose a little bit of time on Spencer Preet, but not too awful much. He's still doing all right. I don't think Spencer's going to be able to catch him unless he makes a mistake up here in the front in this number 12 car.
Bonkowski in the 193 is now dropped. He is the last car on the lead lap in position number 22, and you see the 27 of Spencer Preet trying to get around him as Bonkowski went down a lap that last time by, where race leader Mark Arthur lapped him. Now you see the 27 of Spencer Preet, second place car, have a little bit of trouble trying to get around the 193, had to negotiate that at a turn 2, and that may put a little bit of a hinder on Spencer Preet's attempts to catch Mark Arthur, and he actually is able to gain some time. So no harm, no foul for the 27 Spencer Preet, but Mark Arthur is flying up at the front of the field, opening up a 1.3 second lead as they run right now as we start to approach 75 laps. Leaders currently working 68, and Mark Arthur this time by the stripe takes lap number 69 as we have 21 cars that remain on the lead lap. 3 of them are 1 lap down. That would be Bonkowski, Leach, and Krasper. Chuck Smith in 25th is 3 laps down, and then at the back of it all, the 52 of Jeremy Poole in the 52 against 26th spot on track, 4 laps down. That's everybody. So no retirees so far in this race.
And Mark Arthur's up here working his way through some more lap traffic right now as we speak. We got the 73 car there. He's going to pull over and let him by. That's Randy Hefner. Randy Hefner was very, very courteous there. We have one more car right up here in front of him. It's Bronkowski. Bronkowski in the 193 car. Let's see if he's going to do the same thing and give a little bit of room for our leaders. The leaders come up around here into turn number 1.
And I haven't really seen any major issues as far as leaders trying to get around some lap traffic, and lap traffic really giving them a hard time. You see right there, Mark Arthur going around. Chuck Smith yields low. That's the lap machine, Chuck Smith, that we just mentioned. He runs 25th on the racetrack. Let's the 12th DRTV machine of our race leader, Mark Arthur, go on by. So lap traffic really not causing anybody a lot of problems, and for this track only being 5/8 of a mile long, they have really spread out quite evenly. There's no real big packs. There is a lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic right now going out of turn 4 as our leader enters 3. So if this thing goes green for a handful of more laps and Mark Arthur starts to close in on those guys who are lead lap cars, they are all racing each other, then things could get interesting. Those guys include Randy Garrard, there's Christopher Moody, William Perry, David Nann, and just to name a few of those guys that are in that big group of cars that sit right now, maybe I want to say 6-7 seconds in front of Mark Arthur. Mark Arthur is running faster lap times than them by about a second, or about 5/10 of a second, so half a second a lap. But nonetheless, he will eventually catch them if this pace continues. Dustin Adams has now been forced to bring his number 13 down for service.
Now you were saying about Mark Arthur running faster. The only person right now that I'm seeing that's running faster lap times right now is Spencer Preet. Spencer Preet is actually starting to close in a good bit on the number 12 car of Arthur. He's actually closed it down over a half, just about a full second now.
Yeah, we're going to try to see if I can.
The 13 of Dustin Adams has come down pit road. He went behind the wall, and now the 13 is back on pit road and appears to be blinking a little bit. Now he is back on the racetrack. So 13 is headed back out. Dustin Adams, last week's winner, losing several laps here. Now he has stopped it on the access road and is back in his stall. So 13 trying to negotiate some issues here under this green flag run. Spencer Preet is the fastest car on the track. He's closed it into 0.8 of a second gap between the top 2. In the 13, we have heard from our pit reporter down there, Paul Coleman, that he is experiencing a little bit of connection issues. So Dustin Adams once again back off track, and he is actually disconnected from the sim. He is officially off track. He may attempt to join back. He didn't drop out from loss of connection. He manually disconnected. Not sure if he's trying to reset something to get back on track, but Dustin Adams not getting the night that he was looking for, coming off of a win from last week's race. And I think we got a little bit more information on that, Paul.
Yeah, Dustin, he also is subject to the same weather that Michael Cozy is, but he is attempting to reboot his computer and attempt to connect via cell phone. This is his attempt.
So as Adams tries to get that figured out, we have gone down to 17 cars that remain on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is the 7 of Rod Weston, who just now loses his lap in 1 and 2 to Mark Arthur. So Mark Arthur's fixing to gain the most out of this. He's leading a lot of laps, and he can walk away again. You get 6 points bonus for just leading the lap. If you lead the most laps, you get 15. If you lead the second most laps, you get 10. And if you lead the third most, you get 5. Again, if you put down one of the fastest laps of the race, you get 6 points. So there's a lot of different ways to gain points in this. Mark Arthur again entering tonight second in the championship standings, 15 back from Michael Cozy Jr. So the 12 is fixing to really pick up a lot of points. Travis Brown in the 33 is in a big battle inside of him, the 454 of Luke Turpin, as they battle this one out down into turn number 1. The 454 of Turpin on the inside lane. Travis Brown fighting hard on the outside of the 454, nearly loses it off of turn number 2. He's able to hang on, but this battle is the one that I was talking about that our race leader may be coming up on soon. A lot of side-by-side as the 454 of Turpin tries to recover from a near spin. He's inside of the 55 right now of Christopher Moody down into 1.
Well, these guys know that it's time to go because they are, like you said, they're getting ready to go a lap down here, so they're going to start racing a little bit harder because that's one thing that they don't want to do is lose a lap. I'm going to go back here to our analyst really quick here, Lance Mead. Are you here with us, Lance?
Yes, I am.
I just want to let we have a couple guys here that they said are trying to use cell phones to connect to the internet and run this iRacing. Is that even possible, and how would that work?
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can share Bluetooth, wireless, whatever. It's not bad. I mean, in a pinch, it'll work. Nowadays, if you got 4G, your ping times can be a lot lower than a lot of other, regular connections even. So if they've got decent cell service, I don't see that being a problem today.
Well, that sounds like it'd be a good time to start blinking there, you would think, but we'll see if it works. Hopefully these guys can get back in on their cell phones. I want to thank you again, Lance Mead from Small Town Computers, for stopping here. Back up here in the front. I'm sorry, go ahead there.
Well, green flags continuing to go here, Carl, and we're starting to approach the 1/3 mark of this race. And again, as the field continues to spread out, the wrecks that we have seen, again, really haven't come from these big groups of cars. They've kind of come from a couple of isolated incidents. So even though the field is spreading out, we can't really, say that we're safe from a possibility of, going without a green. But this is about to be a battle for the lead, and this is right now, again, right here. Mark Arthur is in 1 and 2. I mean, take a look at this 12 car. He has the 27 of Spencer Preet on his back bumper. That is the battle for the lead. Right in front of him is that 5-car, 4-car battle now that we watched with Travis Brown and the 454 of Luke Turpin. Turpin is the last car on the lead lap. You see the 454 just in front of the 12 of Mark Arthur. And in front of Turpin is side by side with 33 of Travis Brown and the 55 of Christopher Moody. This is causing a traffic jam down the back straightaway. The 12 has nowhere to go. Can the 27 of Spencer Preet capitalize on this?
He almost did here about 2 laps ago. Spencer Preet came out of turn 4 and just slid right up and bounced it off the wall. He was able to keep her straight, keep her going, but yeah, he's driving this car hard. He sees this lap traffic coming. He's trying to figure out where exactly he's going to go as the 33 moves over and lets him get by finally. And same with Spencer Preet. Spencer Preet's going to be right behind Mark Arthur one more time for the lead.
Yeah, the first car to take tires, the 08 of Chuck Smith, is now back out on track. He took 4 tires that last trip down the pit road as this battle up front continues. The 454 of Luke Turpin, still the last car 1 lap down as Travis Brown has lost his lap in that exchange. So the 33 of Travis Brown, the first car 1 lap down, he's going to have company back there. But the 454 of Luke Turpin has now lost his lap along with the 55 of Christopher Moody. So all 4 cars that were battling eventually had to give way to that battle for the number 1 spot. And now it is clean racetrack for a little bit for race leader Mark Arthur. He does have a couple cars just about half a turn in front of him, but they really are not in a large cluster like we saw with these. I mean, that was a big group. That took a lot to negotiate. There was a couple 2-3 wide, a little bit deep in the wagon, and you can't just expect those guys to pull over. Yes, you are the race leader, but again, those guys are battling for not only staying on the lead lap, but those are some positions that got switched up. Travis Brown was in the front of that 4-car group. He went to the back of it and now sits 15th 1 lap down. So Mark Arthur continuing to try to hang on to that car at a turn 4. If you take a look at him working that wheel out of the corner, really trying to keep those tires underneath him, and the 27 Spencer Preet is still there, 0.2 seconds back. Stephen Wetton in the 23 is in 3rd. He's actually closed it in for about 5 seconds to 3.4 as those leaders had to negotiate all that traffic. But I don't think the 23 really running on par laps with what our leaders are, but we'll see if the 23 can make anything out of this, as now it's a non-stop job up front of constantly trying to work around lap traffic, and there is side-by-side lap traffic right in front of Mark Arthur.
Looks like the number 8 car, he's going to pull down and out of the way. He's seen that the leader's coming. It looks like the that was close there. I thought we were going to have a spin right there in front of our leader, but the 195 car was able to collect it, get it straightened out, and no incidents whatsoever. But I got to say, I said this last week or 2 weeks ago at the Charlotte Road Course. These guys show a lot of class out here on this racetrack. They see the leaders coming. They don't feel a need to block these guys. They just let the leaders go by because they know that in the future, that's going to be repaid to you. You're the guy that's leading, and you're getting ready to put one of these guys that in the lead right now a lap down. They're going to do the same thing for you. They're going to move over and give you the same courtesy that you gave them time after time.
Racers remember, they don't forget, they put that in their memory bank, and if they feel that you have done them wrong, it'll come back to you, especially on this oval race and in these tight quarters. Again, we have a big restrictor plate race at the Charlotte Oval coming up to close off the season, so don't want to give anybody a reason to be mad at you. We are still bumper to bumper up front. Spencer Preet is about a car length away from the 12 of Mark Arthur, and this battle continues to go. They really closed in when they started to group up on that lap traffic. Now the 27 Spencer Preet has been constantly hanging out about half a car length off of the back bumper of the 12 of Mark Arthur as they go through 3 and 4, and we close in on the 1/3 mark in this race. Mark Arthur again standing to gain the most out of tonight's affair, race 18 out of 20 on the inaugural XCAL Racing Series. And now caution is going
Caution's
to
back out on the field
right before the 1/3 mark of this race, and don't see anybody spun out at the moment. Going to try to wind the tapes back and find out the cause of that, but back under the yellow flag. And I see one car off track, and not sure if that's the cause of the caution. It looks like the 193 and the 42 down the back straightaway, the 42 or the 193. You can blame it on either of them. Make mutual contact on the high side, and the 42 tries to hang on to it. That is Elliott Leach, and gives the 193 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 most likely unintentional taps into the right rear as he tried to gain control of his own car, but the 193 is the one that ended up in the inside wall. The 42 of Elliott Leach was able to sneak back out on track, but that slows us down, and it looks like most of our leaders coming down pit road, Paul.
Yeah, with pretty much wholesale, it's easier to say who stays out than coming in. All of our leaders, everybody on the lead lap, with the exception of the 27 and the 03. Pretty much come down pit road here.
Looks like this 27 of Spencer Preet's going to be making another pit stop. He's sitting down here on pit road right now, so kind of interesting to see him back in here already.
And he slid through his stall. He has that number 1 stall for being on the pole position, and he slid through it. He had to back up a little bit. You don't see much tires going on here for the leaders. The 44 car going to be the first one to exit pit road, and if you're doing fuel only, this can come down to how much fuel you're going to put in it, which will dictate how long you stay in your pit road. A little bit of contact nearly coming out of pit road. Then they phased through each other, but the 27 of Spencer Preet pulled out and phased into the 5. The 5 of Derek Colson nearly got out into the grass on that access road, but everybody has settled things down. Richard Holiday currently being shown in the number 1 spot. He is down on pit road, so this may put Aaron Keith in the catbird seat right now, looking like everybody in front of him in line appear to be lap car. Cyandra has actually stayed out. He may end up being the leader. It all depends on how this is all going to shake out, as pit stops still very fluent. A couple drivers coming into pit road at different intervals on different laps, so scoring is a little bit confusing right now as the sim tries to figure out where everybody is. It has the 4 of Brock Colson shown up front, but there are a couple of guys in front of him on the racetrack right now. Looks like those cars would be wave around cars. The 24 of Cyandra not off the lead lap, but he's right in front of race leader right now, Brock Colson. So when we get the one to go, 24 and the 74 would be raved around that pace car, come up to the back of the line, so the 24 would be able to maintain that lead lap position, as it is 16 cars that are on pit road. Last car on the pit road, the 73 of Randy Hefner, is the last car on the lead lap, actually in 16th, and he loses his lap. So race officials once again going to delay the restart there. We saw that 24 car and everybody get waved around. Cyandra went around, and a couple other guys got waved back around. Dustin Adams has rejoined the sim, trying to load back in. Again, if you remember, last week's winner had some connection issues, tried to figure it out on pit road, did not work. He sits 29 laps down right now, and he has just joined back into the sim, not on track yet, so that's going to hurt him because, again, we have not had any retirees. Actually, Joshua Bunkowski is not on racetrack right now. He sits 24th. Other than that, despite the fact that we've seen a couple cars get banged up, these street stocks are tough, so you can't really count on a large number of retirees, and Bonkowski actually now just rejoining back into the sim, so he manually disconnected as well, so that could have been some connection issues for him as well.
Joshua Borje Bankowski is from Hawaii, and he's actually taken 3 weeks off due to internet issues. This is his first race back in about 4 weeks.
So Bunkowski is back in the sim. He's currently being shown 24th and is 7 laps down, so he is the last place car besides Dustin Adams, who runs 26th, and a 13's back on track. Last week's winner back out on the racetrack. 30 laps down is going to be the count for Dustin Adams in position number 26. Lights are off for the third time. Racing Ford First Mustang pace car race officials have said that we're going this time by. We should try to get it in through 3 and 4, and pace car down to the safety of pit road. Brock Colson on the gas right away. He's the control car. The green flag flies. We are back racing at Thompson International Speedway. Richard Holiday in the 03 is able to defend that number 2 spot. The Dogecoin machine. The 19 of Aaron Hillebush rides back in third.
Watching Aaron Hillebush coming off there off turn 2, he was full sideways there for a second. He was able to get it collected back up, but Brock Colson, nice jump on that restart. Richard Holiday, I don't think had anything for him on that restart, but yeah, I was watching that Aaron Hilleberg, and he just got completely sideways coming out of turn 1 there, or turn 2, excuse me, and he was able to collect that up. Pretty impressive.
Couple slow cars. We're hearing the 8 may have received some sort of a penalty. He is discussing that with race control at the moment, as we're now down to about 13 cars that are on the lead lap. Ryan Borges, last car on the lead lap in his speed stick number 32 machine, runs around in 13th, as Brock Colson now taking his swing at the number 1 spot. We saw him up front in the opening laps in the number 4 car as battling up front. He started in position number 8. He now has his turn at the number 1 spot again. Richard Holiday sits in second. Aaron Hillebush is in third. And Mark Arthur, again, trying to capitalize on the absence of Michael Cozy Jr. late in the season, is now fourth. And he actually just made a pass on the 19, so moved the 12 up to third.
Keeping an eye out here on the number 8 position of Spencer Preet. He went to back to the back of the pack there after filling up with fuel. We'll see if he's able to make his way back up through the field. He's been passing cars on the inside quite regularly here throughout this entire race. Looks like he's going to do the same thing again. He's going to get up beside the number 70 vehicle there of William Perry. William Perry's going to give him a good wide berth there, and he's going to let him on by.
We are past the 1/3 mark in this race of this 300-lap affair at the Thompson International Speedway. Brock Colson in the 4 is on point, currently working lap 111. You're watching the Go Fast Games 300 from Thompson on LSRTV. We're going to step away, take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more green flag racing.
a race car has a soul, and the Audi 90 Quattro had a very special soul. When we came to the States with this car, nobody could believe what we can achieve with this car. Small engine, 5-cylinder. It's a German saloon car. We knew that we can only win the race by using all the car has.
The green flag is out. Here we go.
The 5-cylinder engine was it was a jewel. It was lighter and it was more compact. You put your foot on the throttle and you could use the power instantly.
Back live at Thompson International Speedway has trouble in 3 and 4 with the 454 and the 8 machine puts us back under the caution flag. We're currently placing on lap 126 out of 300 in tonight's affair, the Go Fast Games 300, brought to you by XCAL Racing from the Thompson International Speedway in Thompson, Connecticut. My name is Masoko. Joining me up at the broadcast booth, we have Carl Jones, Lance Mead, our technical advisor, Paul Coleman down there in the pits in the garage area, running around and finding out what is going on. The 12 of Mark Arthur leads, guys. This is for the 4th or 5th caution that we have seen so far tonight. We're past the 1/3 mark. I guess we'll start with Carl. What are your thoughts on the race so far?
So far, it's been a pretty exciting race. These guys have done some really nice racing out here, really nice and clean. And like I said before, I'm really impressed with these guys. I love watching them. This is only my second race that I've watched them on, but I'm really enjoying these guys. These guys are some really good drivers. They're out there in some of the hardest cars on iRacing to race on, or to race in, excuse me, on these short tracks that are really hard to really negotiate because of especially this track here is bumpy and as gritty as this track is. These tires are got to be getting eaten up, but these guys are holding on to these cars pretty good. I'm really impressed.
Paul, some of your thoughts on the race?
From down here, we got a couple of crazy things. First, I want to update you guys. Stephen Wentenpin from second gave up second place. He's in 11th. Under the commercial, we had a couple of black flags as well. Randy Gerard, who was just involved in that accident with the 454 Luke Turpin, was black flagged, as well as Rod Weston, the 7, were both black flagged for coming down pit road while it was closed under our previous caution. So there's a couple updates from down here. Back up to you.
The race control continues to throw the caution flag. The cautions here just don't really give the XCAL racing officials sufficient time to really get everybody back up into their proper position. So they've they've delayed the caution, I should say. So when the lights go on the pace car, that the race officials add one more circuit under the yellow flag, and they've had to do that about 3 times every caution just so that they have enough time to give everybody the wave arounds. Again, the first 5 cars that are not on the lead lap actually will receive a wave around as long as they were not the cause of the caution. So again, you need some time to make sure you get all of that sorted out, get those guys waved back around. So it really gives a lot of these guys another shot at this thing if they have lost their lap from being involved in an incident. The lights are off at a pace car. We're pacing out of corner number 2. If we do go green this time by, it will be to take lap number 131. A couple of drivers are trying to discuss with race control about having black flags cleared, and that was something that was discussed after the most recent restart. Prior to this, we heard Paul talking about that as well. Pace car is on pit road. Mark Arthur, the control car, 44 of Aaron Keith, has been very strong for the number 2 spot. Green flag flies, and Mark Arthur is going to clear the 44 XCAL Rivals machine into turn 1. Here comes the 27 of Spencer Preet, door to door for second. Will the 44 get a run off of corner number 2? It's side by side, nearly contact as Spencer Preet has to go down a racetrack. 44 of Aaron Keith clears him, and now Aaron Keith has sole possession of the number 2 spot. 27 actually Spencer Preet, the great run through 3 and 4, tries to battle back on the inside and cannot do so, and now finds himself side by side with the 24 of Cyandra. So 24-27 side by side for third. The big winner of that, Spencer Preet, slides into position in third, and now they're side by side for fourth with the 03 of Richard Holliday, the Doge machine, on the inside of the 24 car of Cyandra, trying to get back up in line as the 03 of Holliday did not find the spot that last time by, and they continue to duke it out down the front, down into turn number 1.
For anybody here who is not familiar with short track racing, the inside line is not usually the preferred line. It pinches your car off quite a bit, as you were seeing there with Spencer Preet. He was getting pinched down. He wasn't able to make any kind of passes.
Oh,
and the same thing right now is happening back here with the Richard Holliday car. He is stuck down on the inside, and
there
we got a car around.
Cyandra gets turned by the 4 of Brock Colson. Caution flag's gonna fly. And that all started with that contact that you were talking about, the 03 on the inside lane of Richard Holliday, slides up the racetrack a little bit and gets into the 24 machine. The 24 of Cyandra has to correct it, comes back down on a 2-wide battle. The 19 was on the very inside, Aaron Hillebush. The 4 is the car in the middle, and that had nowhere to go. The 4 of Brock Colson, as the 24 comes down over the 4's nose. 4 has to correct it, gets into the right rear of the 24, and then the 19 of Hillebush gets into the 4, and 3 cars at least go around and pick up some sort of damage. Caution flag going to fly once again here at the Thompson International Speedway. And Paul, do you have a radio copy on the driver of the 03 machine?
We do indeed. We got contact here with Richard Holliday. You got us?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Richard. What extent there was that last little incident? What did you see out of that in your rear view? I see you had some contact with Cy, a lot of bumping with Cy. What happened there?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back up in. I know I got to keep close to Spencer. And after I cleared him, he probably just spun by himself. I didn't think I caused anything there.
No, it definitely didn't appear that you caused anything. Just wanted to see what you happen to see in your rear view mirror. It looked like the whole field got into each other behind you there. Just want to see what it was from your angle.
Yeah.
How's your car going? You've been consistently here in the top 2, top 3, top 4 tonight. How are you feeling about your car?
It's really good. It's better than I thought. My laps are better than they were in practice, probably just from the long runs. Tires heat up and all, you know.
And Richard, also Evan Pizzoco up here with the LSRTV booth. You guys are starting to close in on the halfway point in this race. You are sitting in the number 1 spot. Well, we've seen stints where we'll see somebody up front and they'll lead a bunch of laps, caution flies, they get cycled back in traffic. You're now up in the number 1 spot. What kind of strategy do you have to take from this moving forward to try to plan that so by the time it gets down to towards lap 300, that 03 machine is going to be up front in contention for it?
Well, the main point is trying to avoid green flag stops. Keeping it full as much as you can is a big point. So once it gets down to about 2 gallons, I might pit under caution and then try to work my way back up to the front.
Definitely, the lights are still on the pace car, but we know you got to get back in there, get ready for this restart. Before we let you go, you have any shout-outs you want to throw out there?
Yeah, just a quick thanks to Petey and Dustin. They've been helping me out this week. It's a pretty good setup. Just wanted to give a shout out.
Definitely 10-4. Well, thanks for talking to us and good luck for the rest of this race.
Thanks.
We just get the 1 to green, and race officials going to once again delay that as everybody tries to get sorted back out. We just spoke to Richard Holiday, current race leader in his Dogecoin machine. He will be the control car on this restart, and a lot of these guys are going about a second or so after the pace car heads down to pit road, which is kind of in the middle of 3 and 4. Right at the start of turn 4 there is where that service road is, the access road to get down to pit road. So it's going to see the 03 and how he's going to take his approach up to this coming restart. 1 to green back out once again. We have seen that the race officials had to delay it a couple laps, and there you go. The race officials have had thrown the caution once again. So at least one more circuit around the racetrack. Paul, we hear you have a little bit of an update down there with a couple of drivers getting into a little bit of a spirited debate, we'll call it.
Yeah, evidently the crew here of Travis Brown's 33 is not having kind words here with the crew of the 73, Randy Hefner. They feel that Randy's rough driving has caused the 33 to lose 1 lap. So expect some words and some action here either on the track or after the race.
The 33 being the team of Travis Brown, the 08 of Chuck Smith is also out there, and those two guys, actually, the 33 drove right up on the bumper of the 08, and so a little bit of tempers here going on under the caution flag. Still a little bit of 3 wide back of the pack, and no, we have not gone back green flag racing, so there's still a couple of drivers that need to sort themselves out and find their position back in line before we go green. So once again, the green flag is going to be delayed here at Thompson International Speedway. Again, if you're just joining us, this track is only 0.63 miles in length, or 5/8 of a mile, doing 300 laps here, and lap times under the caution flag in the range of about 40 seconds, but under the green flag in the range of about 22 seconds, 23 seconds average on that. So really not a lot of time and not a lot of room to get around here and get everybody sorted out. We once again have gotten the 1 to green, and you can probably expect these guys to go back green flag racing as we approach the halfway point in tonight's race, the Go Fast Games 300 from Thompson. Richard Holiday is in the catbird seat on this. He is the control car as the pace car gets ready to drop down to pit road side by side, and the 03 is on the gas. Green flag flies, and Holiday with no issue gets out to a little bit of a jump. 2-3 car links into corner number 1, side by side for second. The 32 of Ryan Borges on the inside lane gets that back end out sideways and will drop back to third, and he keeps getting it sideways, trying to hang on to it. 23 of Stephen Wetten's going to get by him. Looks like the 12 of Mark Arthur is going to get side by side with them as well, and the 32 of Ryan Borges is going to drop from third on that restart after trying to make a move on the inside lane. Now finds himself back in position number 5.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier there with this track here, you get down on this inside lane, you're pinching your car off, and as we saw there with Borges' car, what it's wanting to do is wash out and go back out to the outside, and he's doing everything he can to hold that car down without taking another car out. Back under caution one more time. Cautions are breeding cautions here today.
And one car is torn up down there in the grass. The 19 of Aaron Hillebush has some pretty severe damage, and this is going to be a 3-car incident at a turn 2, lap 144 down the back straightaway. It's the 44 machine of Aaron Keith in the middle, just slides up a little bit too much, it appears, and the 4 car was on his outside lane getting an overhead view, and it looks like maybe the 4 came down, but contact between the 4 and the 44 on the outside lane, and the 19 of Aaron Hillebush gets the worst of it. Hillebush spins down to the inside and nails that inside wall and loses the whole front clip off of his car, and that machine is smoking. A couple guys that barely got through that. How about that 27? We can get it on board with Spencer Preet. That wreck happens right in front of him, and he gets on the brakes and drives through it, and his hopes stay alive in tonight's race. But once again, quickly back under the caution flag. Cautions breeding cautions. We saw very well-length green flag runs in the opening portions of this race, but right now in this middle section, you can call it this race, as we are only about 4 laps away from the halfway point. A lot of caution starting to string out, but again, the guy that gets the worst of it is the 19 of Hillebush after going head-on into the inside wall, and that's what we call a smoker. A lot of smoke pouring out of the back of the 19, and it's blinking in and out, so he's got to try to keep going around as he tries to wait for pit road to be open to try to get his service done to his 19 machine, but there are no complete car resets at the XCAL Racing Series, so the 19's night, for all intents and purposes, could be done here.
Watching the 19 car there of Hillebush, looks like he just tried to avoid what was going on the outside of him there, and he just overcorrected it there, and just the car just caught, and it just slams head on into the wall. Hard hit, doing tremendous damage. You got to think that probably took out the radiator and a bunch of other things, so he's going to probably end up losing that engine.
And again, he needs to hope that he can get it, and he is now down in pit road, and not sure what he will be able to do with that. Taking a look at all the damage that he has on that car. We have no drivers that have retired from this race. The 19 is the one that has been damaged the most. We have a couple cars multiple laps down, like Dustin Adams, last place on the racetrack, 26th. He's 30 laps down, and then Joshua Bunkowski, also 25th. He is 15 laps down, but those guys had to leave due to some connection areas or connection issues, and a lot of weather issues in their areas have caused them to drop out of the race. At least 4 minutes of required repairs for Aaron Hillebush. He has about 7 that they can do, but again, that front end of the race car is absolutely gone. You don't have to worry about it overheating, it looks like, from this point, but 19 definitely is torn up very bad. His super number 19 machine is well damaged. Lights are still on the pace car. The 03 of Richard Holiday again continues to sit in the number 1 position. To this extent in the race, as scoring's got updated and lights have once again gone off of the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car. We have 16 cars on the lead lap as they run right now. Luke Turpin, the last car on the lead lap. A couple of wave rounds. Jeremy Poole, Randy Garrard, William Perry, Luke Turpin, Travis Brown were all given their laps back, and Aaron Keith was given the EOL penalty. He was deemed the cause of the caution in the 44 car, and that proves that. And again, Brock Colson was also given one, so the race officials deemed that both cars going to be the cause of that. So again, that was such mutual contact. If you made the car towards one guy or the other, it would be debatable for sure. So both the 4 and the 44 are given EOL penalties for their involvement, or rather causing that wreck. But again, the guys that cause it get out for all intended purposes unscathed, and it's Aaron Hillebush, an innocent bystander, that ends up into the inside wall trying to get around it. We are coming back to the green flag. Pace car lights off, heading down into turns 3 and 4. Front row, the 03 on the outside, the 23 of Stephen Wetton coming to the restart. And the 03, the control car is going to go, and green flag flies. 03 pulls out in front of the field. It's side by side for third as the 23 of Wetton has second. No, the 12 wants to challenge. Mark Arthur to the bottom. Can he clear him? Yes, he does. A power move from the 12 goes from third to second, and now Ryan Borges into 32 to the inside. Tried to get up to the 23 of Stephen Wetton. Cannot do so as this battle continues to rage on. A lot of side-by-side action around position number 7.
Hey, caught up with Aaron Hillebush really quick here on pit road as he's getting repairs. What happened there in that wreck?
It looked like the 4 cars wasn't given too much room. That's really a shame. Earlier in the race, I moved over for him because I knew he was quicker than me. You know, my teammate was right there trying to run with him. He was kind of holding us both up a little bit. We ended up almost 3 wide. I saw what looked like the 4 car having a lot more room up top than he acted like he had. And I saw Keith going towards the wall. I tried to go as low as I could. It got loose, went down to the grass. I tried to get it into reverse, broke the shifter off the mount. We got into the wall real hard. Looking at new radiator, new hose, new front bumper, windshield's offset. We got just about everything taped up. We're gonna get back out there and see how many points we can get, but I mean, I don't know how long it's gonna hold together.
All right, thank you. Well, looks like Hillebush's night just got longer. Back to you, Evan.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it seems like that could be the way that most of these wrecks work, is the 2 cars that get into it and evidently start the wreck are the guys that get away with the least amount of damage. And for sure, the 19 is the one that got the short end of the stick on that one. Still smoke is pouring out of his number 19 machine as he sits down there on the pit lane. Green flag conditions still out. Richard Holiday in the number 1 position. Mark Arthur sits second on the racetrack. Stephen Wetton in the 23 is in position number 3 as Borges tried to make a move to the inside of the 23 on that restart and was unable to do so. They continue to duke it out bumper to bumper. Positions 3rd and 4th down the back.
I just watched Mark Arthur about 2 laps ago, came out of turn 4. We said that turn 4 is going to be the problem spot on the track for these drivers that seem to be washing up a lot towards out of turn 4. He bounced it off the wall twice. Didn't look like it did a lot of damage to the car, but did lose a little bit more time because he was up to about maybe a half a second behind Holiday, can't speak, sorry, and kind of lost a little bit of time to him. Looks like he's running along good. He's catching back up again. Got a little tongue-tied there. Sorry about that.
So it's Holiday up in the number 1 position. Again, we talked to him under the, I guess, 2 cautions ago now about his strategy moving forward and how he was going to negotiate the rest of this race. And it looks like he actually might have had a little bit of connection issue there down into turn number 3 and 4. So a lot of connection problems for several drivers in this race. I know Bonkowski was one of the drivers that had to actually leave.
Number 5 car hits the wall hard.
Derek Colson, heavy damage to the number 5 car. He, with a self-spin, it appeared out of the corner and pancaked the left side of his car into the inside wall. No caution, but he's going to fall from a top 10 position now, and his machine torn up bad with a lot of left front damage and very easily can be forced to pit road here.
I just happened to be watching him as he came off of that turn there. He just self-spun it, as you said, hit the wall hard, saw the undercarriage of that car for about 3 or 4 seconds before he came back down. But yeah, a lot of damage to the number 5 car there. Pretty big shame for him because he was running very, very well here behind Chris Moody, and like I said, he just lost it. Just came out of the turn, couldn't get it back up underneath them, and hard contact to the inside wall.
And the 5 is down on pit road. He is taking tires and obvious damage repair to the left side of his number 5, hearing somewhere in the range of 3 minutes of required repairs on his car. So he has to go down pit road. He will lose several laps in doing so. And again, we continue to see this track start to claim victims. Except nobody, again, we still have all these cars that started this race. Keep in mind, only 15 of them are still on the lead lap out of the 26 that started, but still nobody, Carl, has actually taken it behind the wall and called it quits. So a lot of adversity for these guys for staying with it.
Back here watching one of our old leaders, Brock Colson. Brock Colson he's racing hard now. He's right up here, right on the back end of David Nannon, looking like he's wanting to get a little bit more racing, gets himself back up in front of the pack.
Yeah, a lot of battling still going on as everybody continues to shuffleboard position. Now we hear Paul Coleman down there on pit road. He's caught up with the radio communication with Derek Colson.
Yeah, I'm down here with Derek Colson on pit road. Derek, what happened? You got some airborne action going on there.
Yeah, people racing too hard early in the race. I had a 55, about 3 laps in a row, couldn't get off the corner, was sliding around, and I got under him that time, and he got kind of sideways, and I kind of had to react to it getting sideways and just spun off the corner.
What's the damage look like? It didn't look like your car was smoking, unlike Hillebushes. You think you can get back out there?
Yeah, I can get back out there. It's pretty much run my race. Had 3 months worth of repairs, and I'm still looking about another 8 optional. So I mean, it's hurt, but it's drivable, I guess.
All right. Well, unfortunately for Derek, his night, just like Aaron Hillebush's a couple minutes ago, gets longer. The laps wearing down, just over halfway, and we're probably haven't seen the last of it yet. Back up to you.
Back here around the 11th position with Travis Brown and Luke Turpin. They got a good battle going on here. Luke Turpin has about 3 or 4 times now going into the turns. He has got it down below Travis Brown, but Travis Brown is able to bring it right back up in front of him. Luke Turpin not able to get around Travis, trying hard.
Yeah, and we are just past the halfway point in this race, actually about 20 laps past the halfway point. 300 laps is the distance in tonight's Go Fast Games 300. Currently working for our race leader, Richard Holiday, 169 laps. So past the halfway point, just about 19 laps or so ago, which means we are on the downhill side. Things contact for the top 2 as Mark Arthur got a little bit of a run, got back to the gas there in the middle of 3 and 4. We talked to a couple guys before the race, last week's winner in specific, number 13, Justin Adams, about how you can now got to negotiate turns 3 and 4, kind of like Darlington. You can't just get back on the gas from center off. You kind of got to feather the throttle, get on it, get off it, and it looks like the 12 got back to the gas. The 03 was off of it and nearly spun him out as Mark Arthur got into the left rear of Richard Holiday. Top 2 on the racetrack have nearly 4 seconds over third on back, but it is 0.2 of a second separating the top 2 as Mark Arthur looks to regain his number 1 position that he had in the earlier stint of this race.
Looks like Travis Brown may have run it out of gas. Riding along with him as he was coming up the back stretch, or excuse me, coming down the front stretch. Worst place he could have done it. All of a sudden he had to pull it down to the inside. He was weaving the car back and forth, trying to get some fuel into that car, into the fuel pickup there, and it was not successful. Stalled the car out, and yes, that's what it was. He actually ran out of fuel. He was able to get it started, get it back down here on pit road, and got some fuel back in her, and off he goes. But lots of time lost. Looks like he's going to go down a couple of laps after that.
Yeah, you run all race long, and you've gone over 160 laps, and you're doing good, and you're surviving this race. This race has kind of become a battle of attrition, much like the road course race at Charlotte. You just got to survive, and last week at Lanier also is you got to survive to be there at the end. You got to buy your time. Travis Brown was riding around. We saw him lose his lap earlier, just recently getting a wave around to rejoin the lead lap, and then again, just a simple miscalculation there on the fuel queue, and it ends up costing you more laps than any incidents on track did.
It's not only a race of attrition, it just became a race for the lead as Mark Arthur got down below Holiday. Kind of gave him a little bit of a bump there, but got around him. Mark Arthur now takes the lead down here on lap number 174.
Bump and run, you could call it, as the 12 made a move to the inside and was able to give him a little bit of a door rub in 3 and 4 to complete the pass to round out that lap. So Mark Arthur, definitely one of these serious contenders to be up front late in the going and try to lead the most laps, which would buy him, again, that right there, leading the most laps would buy him a 15-point bonus. Entering tonight, how many points back is he of the championship leader, Michael Cozy Jr.? 15 points, and the 88 not even on track tonight, again, with those issues earlier in the going.
Back here with the number 27 car, Spencer Preetz, sitting back here in third position, 3 seconds back from our leaders. He was one of our leaders before. He's actually caught up to Richard Holiday and Mark Arthur by about a half of a second here over the last couple of laps. So Spencer Preetz looks like he's coming on strong again. He's looking like he's want to get back up here in front of this pack. Meanwhile, back up here in the front, Mark Arthur makes his way around some lap traffic. Richard Holiday's getting around the same lap traffic. These guys are giving room, letting these guys through. So laps are clicking off quickly here. We're 178 of 300 laps into this race.
And if this green flag run can continue, it's going to continue to go by very quickly. Again, the lap times are very consistent. There really is no fall off. The fastest lap in practice, a 22.7. The last laps that Mark Arthur up at the front of the field is running are 22.6s. These cars, again, love those old tires. So by no means are we slowing down throughout the green flag run, and they're starting to get loose and they're starting to slow down. This race is only picking up, and the intensity only picking up as well as we start to close in on the 2/3 mark, where we would take lap 200 of 300 in just about 21 laps from that time by the start finish line. Mark Arthur will do so, but again, the DRTV machine is definitely trying to get up there and stay up front, lead the most laps, walk away with bonus points, and again, he can gain the most out of this of anybody, because the championship battle really a 2-horse race, and with his biggest competition and the championship leader not even being here, he can tie him on bonus points alone, and then add his finishing position as well, can really capitalize on that.
One thing we have not seen yet is green flag stops. You got to wonder what these guys are going to be doing here if they end up getting enough green flag laps and get some green flag stops in here. That's really going to shake things up a little bit, because these pits are on a small track like this are really hard to get into and get out of cleanly. So it'll be interesting to see if we have any green flag stops come up, see if we have any mistakes, because that could jumble this field up quickly.
And again, keep an eye on the laps remaining as Mark Arthur goes this time by. He's working lap 182, so that's in a range of 120 laps to go, a fuel window anywhere from 60 to 70 laps of green flag racing. So depending on how long they can stretch that out, you're looking at least one and probably 2 more stops for everybody fuel-wise in this race. And again, we've mainly seen them on the caution flag. We have seen a couple of guys come in for green flag pit stops, but it wasn't really a large cycle of cars. And again, we were talking about the strategy that these guys had to take entering tonight's race, where 70 laps and you're just going to come up a little bit short of making it a 3-stop race. A couple guys putting into the caution. So a lot of these cars are on very different strategies. So if we do see green flag pit stops, I don't think it would be like a cup race or a Gen 6 race here where everybody kind of comes in at about a 4-lap window. They will be relatively close, but there are a lot of different fuel strategies playing out that we don't really see to the immediate eye when we watch these guys race around on the racetrack with only 9 cars left on the lead lap. There is still a lot going on behind the scenes here as Mark Arthur closes up on the 8 machine of Randy Gerard, who's 2 laps down.
Yeah, talking about going on behind the scenes, I'm going to go one more time here to our race specialist, Lance Mead from Small Town Computers. How you doing, Lance? You enjoying the race?
Sorry about that. I had a cough there.
You enjoying the race so far, Lance?
Yeah, it's definitely jam-packed full of action there.
Well, I've been with LSRTV now for about a year. This is my first real short track race, and I want to ask you a quick question here. What kind of difference does it make on your computer running these really short, tight tracks that it does running a super speedway? Does it hurt with the frames per second? Does it make anything a little bit better? What kind of differences would you notice?
It's kind of interesting. You would think that the shorter track would kind of offer a little bit better performance to the computer. However, for whatever reason, it seems to go the opposite. It seems like you get a little bit lower frames per second. I don't know exactly what these guys are running for a rig. However, with looking at the way they're running, I don't think that they're taking too much of a deficit when it comes to frames per second, because they seem to be getting around pretty good there. So I don't think that anyone here is having an issue. However, like I said, for whatever reason, it seems to be more taxing on the system.
Once again, that's Lance Mead from Small Town Computers. Lance, how can they get a hold of you if they need to get in touch with you for any computer needs?
Oh, well, you can go to our website, it's www.smalltownpc.net, and phone number is on there as well.
Lance Mead from Small Town Computers. Back up here at the front of the pack, we got Mark Arthur and Richard Holliday. They're running hard for the lead one more time. About a lap ago, Richard Holliday was right on the back bumper of Mark Arthur there, trying to make a pass. Mark Arthur was able to port that attempt off.
So the top 2 are separated by what appears to be about 2 car lengths right now up at the front of the field. You mentioned Holliday was just up there, and part of that helped him get right up to the bumper was the fact that, again, Mark Arthur was closing in on lap traffic. The 8 machine was there as well. So Richard Holliday continues to ride in the number 2 spot, but Mark Arthur has a swarm of lap machines in front of him that he is going to have to negotiate. He goes to the outside of the 55, but there's a line right there going into turn 1 and 2 of about 4 cars that he's going to have to bob and weave his way through till he gets in a clearance. And again, this could be a situation where Richard Holiday could end up capitalizing on that.
Going on board here with the Richard Holiday car right now, as he's pulling up here on this lap traffic. We're going to see if he can see what kind of negotiation, see how he's going to be able to negotiate through this lap traffic, as he's got his rival right behind him, looking one more time very closely to that back bumper, trying to see if he can find a way around. Right now the lap traffic is not playing any kind of a role in this race, so now that we're back up here into some heavy lap traffic, and we're going to see if this is going to make any kind of a difference.
And you can see on that onboard how rough this racetrack is and how much input that these guys are going to have to be given into the wheel to keep these things straight, especially on corner exits. He's sawing that wheel left-right to try to keep that pointed in the right direction. But the 12 of Mark Arthur still has not been able to get past the 42 of Elliott Leach, who sits 2 laps down. And there's so many cars laps down just from getting lapped in long green flag runs that you're not blowing by everybody. Yeah, there are cars that have damage that are rather much slower than our leaders, but you're not just blowing everybody's doors off when you go by them when you catch them as lap cars, because again, their car's still in pretty good condition. 03 of Richard Holiday, he's actually going to come in for a green flag pit stop at the 03 Dogecoin machine.
So green flags, looks like green flag stops have started. Looks like the 03 car is going to be the first one that's going to open that door up. Let's see if anybody else is going to join him down here on pit lane. Mark Arthur looks like he's going to go ahead and bypass pit lane one more time, so he's still good on fuel. Spencer Preet, that brings Spencer Preet right now up into second place, and he's still 4 seconds back. So actually just got some word back that he saw a car he thought it was spinning there. That's why the 03 decided he was going to pit, because he thought the caution was going to come out there, and it did not. So he got faked out on that one.
Yeah, a little bit of strategy that he tried to play going down into the corner, and it was fine on pit road, and you saw a little bit of a last-second hesitation, but at that point it was too late. He had to come down for service, as he tried to, if you saw that wreck, he was hoping he could sneak into pit road, get some service, and then get back out, and everybody else would end up having to pit, and he would cycle back through to the lead point. Not the case, and because he pits here shy of the 200 mark, he will have to make one more, at least one more, green flag, or rather yellow flag pit stop, depending on what happens here with the cautions, to fill her up with fuel before he can make it the distance in tonight's race. So Mark Arthur is in the #1 position, and because of that stop, Holiday has gone 2 laps down just like that.
Now that gives Mark Arthur a comfortable lead now over Spencer Preet, because Spencer Preet is now mired heavily back into this lap traffic, and Mark Arthur does not have to push the car quite as hard now, because he doesn't have to worry too much about somebody coming up on his rear end and trying to get around him. So he's actually able to back off on this a little bit, which may help him on saving fuel.
Stephen Wetton is coming down pit road from the #4 position. He's going to come in for fuel, so it seems like as things are starting to cycle through, not everybody at once, but they're all starting to make their way down for fuel, which will put them up and set them up for a 100-lap shot. Yeah, Mark Arthur coming down to pit road on lap 201. That means that, again, all of these guys that you see on pit road right now are going to have to make at least one more stop before the night is done. The only thing that they are hoping for now is that a caution doesn't fly and trap them multiple laps down, as Spencer Preet has now cycled back out on track. We're taking a look at Mark Arthur. You see him down there in the pits. Richard Holiday, who has already completed his stop, is currently working on the racetrack 2 laps down at the moment in position 11, and we're going to keep an eye to see where these guys cycle out in relativity towards each other. But Mark Arthur continues to sit in his stall. Another car entering pit road in front of him. Brock Colson is in from second as well.
You hit the nail right on the head there before, Evan. These guys that are making these pit stops right now, the only thing that's going through their head is that there is not a caution, because you're exactly right. These guys are going to get trapped not 1 but 2, maybe even 3 laps down, depending on how long their pit stops are, because these guys are making laps on this track, especially drivers like Spencer Preet at 22.6 seconds. And you got to think that if it's going through Spencer's head, maybe he should pick up the pace a little bit, so maybe he could see about getting these guys more than 2 laps down, because that's going to serve him well if they do go under caution. Just got word that Spencer Preet may be pitting here within 2 laps, so we're going to keep an eye on Spencer, see if he's going to decide to bring this down onto pit road next.
And only 2 cars remain on the lead lap right now. Spencer Preet leads it all, and then 18 seconds back is Aaron Keith. So drivers, again, are taking different amounts of fuel in these final stops. So you'll see a couple guys take different length stops, will have different amounts of fuel. So they're all trying to bank, play a little bit of strategy, and try to hope that a caution or a couple things will play into their favor in tonight's race. And now caution is going to fly just as Spencer Preet is going to come down the pit road. Aaron Keith will remain on the lead lap. He is the only other car on the lead lap. Carl, just what we said that these guys did not want to see, and a yellow flies with everybody but 2 drivers off of the lead lap. Now you will see them get wave arounds. Again, the first 5 cars not on the lead lap do receive wave arounds when a caution flag does fly, but I mean, still, that was a close call. Spencer Preet, we believe he made it down pit road before the caution flag flew, and interesting to see how that's going to play out. But nonetheless, a tough break. We're hearing the incident was the 5 machine of Derek Colson as he was working a handful of laps down, and looks like he lost it in 1 and 2. Slid up the hill, caught the wall, snapped it around, did a spin, and kept on going. Didn't collect anybody else, but that does bring out the caution. Spencer Preet currently being scored as your leader. But again, a lot of things need to cycle through here. And we hear that Paul Coleman, he's got a radio copy on the driver of the 33.
Yeah, we're catching up here with Travis Brown. Speaking of drivers that had a long night, we just saw Derek Colson, who's had an extremely long night. Travis Brown, you've had a couple of issues here tonight. Care to talk about them?
Yeah, we started off the race, felt like I had a pretty good BART competition car, and everything worked out good for about the first 100 laps, and then things just started going downhill pretty quick.
What happened? We saw you had a little situation, I believe it was with the 73. What happened there?
Well, he was mad at me because his teammate was bouncing off everybody and bounced into me and put me through the grass, and we got together and it collected him, so I apologize to him, but really I feel like it wasn't my fault. So I'm sure when he goes back and watches the replay, he'll see who was at fault.
Close call here on pit road. Spencer Preet in the 44 just about tangled coming off of pit road. That was a really, really close call. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to break in there. I just happened to be riding along with Spencer Preet as he was coming off the pit road there, and real close quarters pulling off that pit road. They almost collected each other.
Not good for Spencer. Travis, you had a second issue too. Did you end up running that out of gas, or what happened with your elongated pit stop during green flag action?
Yeah, I was going down the backstretch, and I really didn't have a clue that I was short on fuel at the time, and things started sputtering, and sure enough I was out. So that just kind of capped off what has been an absolutely awful night for my BART competition. TSP lost control, Velocity Motorsports car.
Well, we got 100 laps left. Anything can happen. Best of luck to you out there.
Appreciate it,
Thank
guys.
you for joining us. Back to you, Evan.
Right now, as our leaders are coming down pit road, could see a couple more positions change in this one. I know the 27 is back down pit road. Spencer Preet, current race leader, is being scored as the 54 of Brandon Monsive. We're going to step away, take a very quick commercial break here as we pass the 2/3 mark in this race. When we come back, we'll set you up for this last stint in this race. The Go Fast Games 300 XCAL Racing live on LSRTV. We're going to have more from Thompson after the break. Back live here at the Thompson International Speedway with the XCAL Racing Go Fast Games 300. Tonight, 300 laps is the distance, and over 200 of them have been completed as Mark Arthur in the number 12 machine finds himself back up in the number 1 spot alongside the 27 of Spencer Breed. A caution flew there right at the tail end of green flag pit stops, and only 7 cars remain on the lead lap. Can run you through the field. Mark Arthur is in first. As we mentioned, Spencer Breed sits second. Ryan Borges third. Aaron Keith fourth. Randy Hefner in fifth. Richard Holliday sixth. Brandon Mulcive in seventh. Brock Colson in eighth. Stephen Wetton in ninth. 10th belongs to PDJ Zeller. Luke Turpin is 11th. William Perry 12th. 13th. Elliot Leach. Syandra is in 14th. 15th belongs to Christopher Moody. Alex Frasper is 16th. 17th is David Nannon. Travis Brown, we just spoke to him, is 18th. 19th is Rennie Garrard. Rod Weston is 20th. Jeremy Poole 21st. 22nd Chuck Smith. Derek Colson 23rd. 24th Aaron Hillebush. 29th is Joshua Bonkowski. Dustin Adams is 26th. The green flag is getting ready and has flown. And the 27 is Spencer Breed is going to get up into the outside wall. 3 wide as he tries to hang on. Ryan Borges is going to get a shot at the lead after contact after the green flag was rather uneventful. Now a caution is going to fly after the leaders tangled on that restart, and now the 52 of Jeremy Poole has gone around, and that looks like a self-spin by the 52 at a corner number 2, and actually it looks like he is going to collect the 19. 19 didn't have a front end to damage anymore. That's Aaron Hillebush, so not much harm done there. But what about that restart that we saw down in turn number 1 right off the green flag? The race leader was Mark Arthur. The 27 of Spencer Preet was back up front and actually beat him to the line. And the 20, it looks like the 12 just might have drove it in a little hard. 29 kind of came down and could have been a very interesting incident. 52 is going to be DQ'd, so Jeremy Poole is done for the night. He actually is going to be the first retiree, I believe, and he's going to do that after being the cause of 3 incidents in this race. But again, Mark Arthur, again, the story of this yellow isn't the yellow. The story is what happened in turn 1 with the 27 of Spencer Preet being turned into the outside wall, getting back going in a 3-wide battle, and is able to survive. But he now finds himself third. He's going to be right behind Mark Arthur on this next restart. That could get pretty interesting. Aaron Keith has come down, and Randy Hefner also have taken advantage of the yellow flag to come down pit road, and again trying to possibly stretch that field. They can go maybe a max of 70 green flag laps. There's about 81 left, so if they can bank on a couple cautions, who knows what a couple of these guys may be able to pull out of their sleeves, and any tricks and things that they can do to get themselves back up to the front. As the amount of cars in the lead lap has slowly grown, PDJ Zeller is the last car on the lead lap in 10th position. Richard Holliday also came down for service. So a handful of guys, a little bit of scattered strategy on that last pit stop, and a bunch of guys again came down. Brandon Mulcive, one of those in the 54 machine. So maybe a split decision, we'll call it, in the top 10 with those guys who came down to get service. They'd be about in the range of maybe 12 laps short, but if they can bank on some cautions, and several of them, maybe a little bit of a stint like we saw at about lap 130 when we were approaching the halfway point, we saw a handful of cautions in a row. They could work that fuel strategy. We've already seen a little bit of fuel mishaps, including that of the 33 of Travis Brown earlier in the race, but who knows what can come from this. 1 to green right now. You may imagine that we could see the race officials delay this green flag like they have in the past, but lights are off on the pace car going down the back straightaway. If we do go green this time by, will be lap number 222 out of 300. The Go Fast Games 300, race 18 on the inaugural in the 2014 campaign with the XCAL Racing Series, and pace car is on pit road. Mark Arthur is the control car. Green flag flies, and he has a 27 hot in pursuit. Spencer Preet is going to follow him through on the bottom. The 27 is there. 32 of Ryan Borges will slide back to third. 27 is in second as Mark Arthur tries to pull a gap of about 2-3 car lengths down the back straightaway and now into turn number 3 and 4. The closer battle would be second and third as everybody single filing out rather quickly throughout this field and spreading out. There's a lot of cars, again, still trying to limp around their damaged race cars as the finish is nearly in sight in this thing.
You got to figure Spencer Preet's out there right now. He's probably going to try to run that car a little bit harder. I know it sounds kind of strange, but he's going to run a little bit harder. See if that damage did anything to that car. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like he's able to actually hold on to that thing pretty good. He took a look down there towards the inside of Mark Arthur before. Had to slide it back up to the outside wall there. But it doesn't seem like that bounce off the wall damaged Spencer Preet's car in any way, shape, or form. So it looks like he's going to be hot on the heels right now of Mark Arthur, trying to get that lead back.
And even more so that he may feel that he was wronged by the 12, that the 12 didn't arc it into the corner as much. So do we see a little bit of that bumper being used as the 27 continues to close to the left rear? No contact, side by side down the back. He's not going to be able to keep the nose there. However, on the inside lane, Mark Arthur will defend for one more turn. The 32 of Ryan Borges, not the fastest on the racetrack all night long in the 32 speed stick gear machine, but has put himself in position to be a contender in this, as that time it was 75 laps remaining. Shout out to Randy Hefner in the 73 machine. He has his car up in position at number 6, doing a great job and currently on set for a top 10 and maybe able to battle for a top 5 here later on in this race as he has company with the 24. If he were to finish where he runs right now, that would be his best career finish. So Randy Hefner working that 73 machine in position number 6. Mark Arthur has pulled it out now a little bit up at the front of the field to about 5-6 car lengths. Ryan Borges has company, the 03 of Richard Holiday, really trying to close in on him. That would be a battle for third between the 32 and the 03. Taking a look on board with that Dogecoin 03 machine. He is riding around in position number 4. You see Borges right in front of him. He gets real close to the bumper in 3 and 4. And despite the fact that Mark Arthur's 1.2 seconds ahead, everybody is in sight. So he can accurately gauge how fast he's taking his corners and how much times he could be losing to our leaders. But Carl, I think you mentioned it earlier. Most people, they're going to think the fastest way around this racetrack is right down there on the line. Not the case. These guys running upper middle part of the racetrack where the best grip is, and that's the preferred lane. So it really gives these guys an opportunity to look at the guys in front of them and try to gauge their speed off of those in front of them. But Holiday is right on a back bumper of Ryan Borges.
Well, the reason being that this track is not conducive to running the bottom is just the G-forces alone pulling these cars as they're coming around the track. It just pulls these cars straight to the outside. They're able to get down there just about to that black pavement there that you see coming out of the turns, and that's about as far down as they're able to get them, because it just wants to push these cars straight to the outside. If you're able to get it down there and hold it, you're not quite going to be going as fast as everybody else, because you're pinching that car off and you're causing the tires to slide, which scrubs off speed. So yeah, the outside seems to be the fastest part of the track. I've seen that time and time again. These guys get down to this inside and they just can't make the passes because, like I said, it's just pinching the car off, and it's causing them to scrub off speeds. Not the best way around at all. Up here in the front, though, we got Mark Arthur right now in contact with the 193 car, and that brings Spencer Preet right up on his back.
There goes
bumper.
Borges,
Ryan
too.
Borges taking a look to the inside. Real exciting up here in the front of the pack right now.
Yeah, the 193 held up Mark Arthur. I thought it was going to be the 27 that was going to pounce Borges. Tried it now. Caution flag going to fly on the racetrack. Trouble on the track, and it looks like the 193 of Bonkowski, who we just saw get in the way of our leaders at turn number 2, spins it out coming off of turn number 4. A self spin, and he does collect the 44 of Aaron Keith. A lead lap car is going to get taken out by the 193, who sits 27 laps down. I don't imagine the 44 going to be very happy about how that all went down. Aaron Keith, a top 5 car, is going to get some substantial damage as we put the replay up right now on the screen there. So 44 of Aaron Keith probably has a couple of words that he would like to use to express with that, but probably not the most satisfied as Bonkowski's rough night continues. And again, the 44, an innocent bystander in that, leaders down pit road for what will be the final time, 60 to 70 laps of green flag racing, less than 70 to go. So this last tank of fuel will be it to the end. Ryan Borges opts to stay out of pit road, and almost everybody else is down. Hefner's out, Zeller stays out, but a whole bunch of other drivers are coming down pit road for fuel to take this to the end. And Paul, we hear you got another radio company with the 44 machine.
Yeah, I've caught up with Aaron Keith here on pit road. Hey, talk to us about what just happened on the track there.
Man, just running a great race. Strategy was there. Just a lap car, can't control himself, and stuck down pit road. The crew was telling me we got probably another 40 seconds of repairs. They tore up the left front a little bit. If it was up to me, I'd tell them, hey, let me go out there and get it back. But just, I don't know, just didn't hold his line, and I slammed my brakes and just met him just perfect enough. And you know how this is. Sometimes you get a lot of damage. It runs on the fender, and sometimes it's all good. So 20 seconds, and I'm back out there.
All right, well, best of luck to you. Hopefully you don't lose too many laps. Might be able to gain them back via wave around. Good luck to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And also, everybody, the rest of the leaders, by the way, are down here making their final pit stops, with the exception of Randy Hefner, who stayed out to lead a lap.
Looks like Richard Holiday also stayed out there. I haven't seen him down on pit road. He's still out there sitting in third position. I don't think he pitted this time, Buck.
And also Brandon Cruz also stayed out.
Yeah, there's a lot of split decision, and this is it, because again, they can go 60 to 70 on green flag on a full tank of fuel green, and there's less than 70 laps to go, but this is still a long race. The strategy that you have used has gotten you to this point. Now, all you can really do is race this thing out and hope for the best. We've seen how quickly your night can go down the drain. The last time Hefner was on pit road was that group that I talked about, that they'd be about 12 laps short. Will they stretch it? Hefner pitted on 2:18. That would mean he would need to go 83 laps if he wants to make it to the end on a maximum of 70 laps of green flag racing. So how much can that 73 save? He's enjoying the fact that the race officials have had to delay the green flag a couple more laps here to make sure everybody gets back in position. But if that 73 is indeed doing what I believe and is trying to use that pit strategy and try to stretch his fuel out, a long way to go, 82 laps on one tank. Will it be possible? He sits P1 right now.
He's got the 54 of Brandon Cruz, also Richard Holiday and Spencer Preet. Mark Arthur's right up there. These guys are going to be breathing down his neck for this restart, so it's going to be interesting to see what Randy Hefner can do. Hopefully he can keep that up there in the front. That'd be nice to see Randy come home and bring home a win.
An update on the 44 of Aaron Keith, who we just spoke to, running top 5, gets involved in an incident with a car that is multiple laps down, now finds himself 15th, 2 laps down. Tough break. That's racing for you, and we are looking to go back green flag racing as the lights of the pace car are extinguished. Going through 3 and 4, coming up to the restart. Randy Hefner is the control car. He's waiting a lot longer than we've seen our leaders do it in the past, all the way off the corner. Now he gets on the gas, playing that strategy car he does have.
We got a big one back in the back of the pack. Got a big car
spinning around. A lot
of
trouble
around.
Back in the pack, and I think caution is already back out as a lot of cars scattered. No caution yet.
No
the 42 of Elliott Leach is torn up. He got turned through the grass. We stay green, but a lot of contact back there mid-pack. Randy Hefner right there. He led his first restart in the XCAL Racing Series up in position number 1. The control car has, from when the pace car hits the pit road till the time when the sim actually throws the green flag to go, he used up a lot more time than our previous leaders have gone. Side by side for second as 23 of Stephen Wetness spun it out mid-pack after making contact with Ryan Borges. Still no caution as they try to race it out. The battle is for position number 2. The 27 of Spencer Preet around the 03 of Holiday, and now he sets his eyes on Randy Hefner up front.
Randy Hefner is able to get it out to a little bit of a lead here. Picked up about a half a second lead on these guys. So Randy Hefner up here leading some of his first laps and this would be his best finish ever in XCAL racing if he's able to pull this off today.
How much longer? Oh, a lot of bumping and banging. The 03 of Holiday, 1, 2, 3 taps to the back bumper of the 27 of Spencer Preet as Preet sits in position number 2. Is he going to go for the pass? He looks low, side by side. He pulls a nose on him. It's Hefner at the line. Can Spencer Preet, the Kool-Aid 27, complete the pass to the inside? He tries the slide job, and he gets into the 73 of Hefner. He will get the number 1 spot. And now side by side for a second as the 03 of Richard Holiday goes to the inside of Hefner in 3 and 4. He'll clear him. The 4 of Colson around, and the 73 just like that. Randy Hefner gets a shot from the 27 Spencer Preet, who tried a slide job, came up too soon, clipped the 73, and as Hefner was correcting it, he's going to lose 4 spots out of the exchange and still has a lot of fast cars breathing down his neck.
He did a great job, though, getting out there on the outside, getting that car as loose as he did. These guys got around him pretty cleanly. He didn't get in anybody, so no foul, no harm, no foul. So back up here to the front, the 27 of Spencer Preet has pulled himself out to about a 0.6 of a second lead over Richard Holiday.
Contact between the 54 of Brandon Mosife and the 12, and now the 12 is trying to battle back on the inside. That is Mark Arthur. That is the battle for 5th. Advantage is to the 54 of Mosife down into turn number 1. The 12 of Mark Arthur is trying to get in the line. He will do so. Now as Randy Hefner has really fallen off the pace, he's over about half a second slower than those guys up at the front of the field. We saw him running 6th earlier and tried the strategy, and this may only hurt the 73. He's still right now on track for a career best finish, but there are still over 50 laps to go in tonight's affair.
One car we haven't spoken too much about is the 00 of PDJ Zeiler. He is racing hard up here into the 7th position. He has broken into the top 10 now. Racing hard. Looks like he's got himself a good rider underneath him. He's right behind the Mark Arthur machine. Mark Arthur right now looks like he's going to look to the inside of Mosive, and he's going to make that pass stick this time by.
Everybody trying to get what they can. The 12 of Mark Arthur really looks like he is battling an evil race car sideways all the way off the corner. This is a big group of cars for 5th. Look at the 32 of Ryan Borges, 3 wide through the middle, and he will get one of the spots, the 454 of Dermot on the outside, and he nearly slides up into him. Everybody hangs on for now, but you can definitely tell that the intensity has picked up here coming into the closing laps in tonight's race. Side by side for 2nd, the 4 of Brock Colson to the inside of Holiday. Can't get it on this time by, but it's go time.
You got to figure not many of these guys have taken tires at all this entire race, and they're already 250 laps into this 300-lap event, and these tires have really, depending on how hard you've driven the car, have really probably starting to go away on these cars, as we're seeing Mark Arthur really fighting hard coming out of the turns. He's sawing back and forth on that wheel just to keep that car straight, but doing a great job as Peter J. Zeiler is not able to keep up with him anymore, and he's falling back into the grips of Luke Turpin. Luke Turpin looks like he's going to want to get around the 00 car of Petey.
Yeah, Turpin in the 454, the Voodoo Ride machine riding in line behind the 00 of Zeller and in front of the 32 of Borges. Big check of as Ryan Borges gets out of binders, gets a shot from the 24, a lap car of Cyandra gets into the back of lead lapper Ryan Borges. 10 cars are the amount of them that are left on the lead lap. Contact for 2nd now. The 4 of Colson to the inside of Holiday. Holiday gets into his right rear. Now the 4 pushes up, and a lot of beating and banging for position number 2. Colson still there, but not quite clear. Can he do it now into 1? The 03 throws it in, and more contact. Brock Colson going to get the number 2 spot, but real rough racing for that number 2 spot. If the 03 of Holiday gets back to him, he'll be not happy, but now a caution flag going to fly once again later on in this race, and another yellow is going to slow things down. It is the 73. Randy Hefner, such a great night, and this starts in front of him. Looks like he drives it in too hard, and he actually spins the 00 of PDJ Zeller. So a wreck takes out 2 cars, top 10. 00 backs it into the wall, and the 73 of Hefner spins it out to the grass, and that brings us under the yellow flag once again.
What a shame there for the 73 of Randy Hefner up leading this race, just a few laps to go. Now he's found himself around, and what a shame for both drivers. PDJ Zeiler, he had just made it up here into the top 10, and looks like he's going to be dropping back to the end of these lead pack cars, which is not too far back, but still in all, it's a shame to see something like that, because I know Randy Hefner had high hopes for this race.
We're going to step away and take our final commercial break here as we are in the final 50 laps to settle who's going to walk away with the trophy at a Go Fast Games 300. XCAL Racing live on LSRTV. We'll bring you to the checkered flag after this. Back live and coming to the green. Pace car down the pit road, 27. Spencer Preet in control. Green flag flies, and we are racing. The Ford of Brock Colson slides back into the number 2 spot, and it looks like the 12 of Mark Arthur will get third from Ryan Borges. Yes, he does. And now trouble back in the pack. Caution's going to fly. The 7 is absolutely torn up, and a heavy damage on Rod Weston's machine as he got a ride through the grass, and it was self-inflicted. He got it loose at a turn 4, trying to get on the gas again. When the leaders come green, they're coming out on the straight chute. He had to get to the gas in the middle of the corner, gave it too much, got sideways, went through the grass, and he actually slid back up into traffic, and it looks like he got, no, the 55 goes into him and gets damaged. It's Christopher Moody going to pick up damage as well. So caution going to fly once again with less than 40 laps to go. You're watching XCAL Racing, the Go Fast Games 300 from Thompson International Speedway live on LSRTV. My name Evan Pasoko. Joining me up in the broadcast booth, we have Carl Jones, Paul Coleman down on pit road, and Lance Mead, our technical advisor from Small Town Computers. Hey guys, we are starting to close in on the end of this race. The tempers are starting to be heated up. They're starting to be raised. There's starting to be a little bit of discussion amongst drivers, and we believe, Paul, you got a copy with the driver of the 00?
I do. I got Petey Zeller here with me. Petey, what happened between you and Randy Hefner during that last yellow?
Oh, Randy, me and him were just racing, and I caught him, and he was a little bit off the pace, and I was just trying to get by him, so I dove into the corner, and I hit him in the door a little bit, and I got by him, and he didn't like the way I passed him, so going down the front stretch, he came over chat and said, Petey, you're about to go for one hell of a ride, and next thing I know, he went full throttle in the corner and dumped me.
Evidently, I hear some bickering between him as well with race control as well. You have any comments on that? That he feels that that's all your fault, accident.
I mean, you can just look at his throttle indicator. He was going full throttle in that corner, and I was doing normal braking like everyone else. If you watch that, that was... he came straight over chat and said, you're going to go for one hell of a ride, Petey. I don't know how you could say he didn't mean to do that.
Well, we have the technology to look at that, but one of the things the guys up in the booth were talking about is, where did you come from? You were in 20-something place all of a sudden we do see you in the top 5, top 6 battling the lead. Where did you come from, and do you have anything even after that wreck to possibly help your team SPR to its 2nd win in a row?
Oh, I got no damage at all. My buddy Richard's bumping me right now. I got no damage from that. My car was perfectly fine. I was kind of race conservative all race, raced in the back. Saved my car for the end, and now we're gonna go race here for hopefully a top 5. And like you said, if this race goes green to the end, I'm not sure if me or any of the cars in front of me are good on gas. Do you want to know who is good on gas? Richard Holliday. He's the only one behind me.
There we go. Well, thank you so much. Our spotters from above, you may want to talk to your crew again, says you might have some error and damage to take a look at.
Yeah, the crew, I think they want to go fight Hefner, but I told them don't bother with old man Hefner.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good run, Petey. Hopefully we'll see you in Victory Lane.
Thanks. See you, Paul.
Short track racing at its best here with XCAL racing.
Oh yeah.
Tempers are starting to flare, so it's getting interesting, guys. We're going to have a lot of fun here to the end of the race. We only have a few short laps to go before this thing is over, and we're going to see a lot of beating and banging going on here. I have a funny feeling. Caution flag is being thrown once again, so that we are not going to go back to green this time by.
Again, the track's just too small to get everybody waved around. Let's add another 100 laps. It's only going to get better, because this is when short track racing is at its finest. When these guys are tired, they're worn out, they've been racing for over 2 hours, the laps are winding down, and they feel like somebody has done them wrong. On a short track, that's when the show gets real. Lights still on the pace car at least one more time till we go back green. Will it be for the final time? Don't place a bet on it, but it could be. It'll be just over 30 laps to go when we go back green flag racing. Spencer Preet in control, Brock Colson in second, and some people may be wondering, how do the cars on the lead lap keep growing? But again, 5 guys, the first 5 guys that are down 1 lap at least, not on the lead lap as long as they were not the cause of the incident, will get waved back around. So we're at a point where there were only 2 guys left on the lead lap. XCAL Racing has that rule to keep things nice and competitive. 15 cars theoretically in contention for this race. Who knows what's going to happen, and who knows makes it out of turn 1 and 2 alive. Pace car to pit road. Spencer Preet in control of the field. He goes right away. He's got the 4 in hot pursuit. Green flag flies. Spencer Preet is going to clear Brock Colson. Does he slide up in front of him? Yes, he does. Top 3, top 4 now. Single file out. Borges third. The 12 of Arthur is in 4th, and double file from there on back as everybody scatters out of 2.
As they say, cautions breed cautions. Let's see if these guys can make it through here. Yeah, and like I said, I just said it. And we are back under caution
one car
more time.
on its lid. David Nannon is on his roof on the back straightaway, and he just is going to disconnect from the server now and go to pit road. But he got a little bit of a bump in that big checkup. I said everybody tries to survive it out of 2. The 19 goes to the middle, trying to make it 3 wide. Lap machine, the 19, who we saw get damaged earlier, Aaron Hillebush, 22 laps down, goes to the inside and has to slide high to avoid the 8 machine, gets into the 21 of David Nannon. Nannon actually gets put in the outside wall by the 42, does 1, 2, 3 barrel rolls down the back straightaway, and ends up on his lid. He's just hanging out here down the back straightaway, but he has taken the toe to pit road. His night, for all intents and purposes, is done, and once again, we group him back up for another late race restart. no takers on pit road under this caution flag. And we heard when we talked to the 00 of PDJ Zeller on a little bit of fuel strategy there. Coming down to the end here, these cautions are helping out guys that might have been a little bit questionable fuel-wise. They're able to kind of relax over that, but less than 30 laps to go. I'm going to put everybody on the spot here. We're going to start with Carl. Carl, who goes to victory lane?
Oh, this is going to be a tough one here. I'm kind of looking at, I don't know. I hate to drop names. Preet's been running really strong. He's been very strong. But we've also seen Brock Colson out there. He's been strong all night long. Ryan Borges has been strong all night long. How do you pick one? If I had to pick somebody, I'd have to say probably our leader, Spencer Preet. He's been showing that he's the strongest car out here today. So that'll be my pick.
And we'll do the same thing. We'll toss it down to pit road. Paul, who do you think's going to walk away with this one as we close in on 25 to go?
Well, I was going to take Preet, but since Preet's been taken, Preet's holding the flag for his teammate. Cozy didn't show up, so he's the only one scoring points for his team. This gives him an opportunity, but I'm thinking either it's going to be Ryan Borges or perhaps even PDJ Zeller from that coming out of nowhere.
I'm going to have to go with the 12 of Mark Arthur, who sits fourth. So we all have had to decide 3 different picks. Do we get like a bonus if we guess it correctly at the end of it?
Dinner's on whoever gets last of our group.
So it appears that we are doubled up, and race control has delayed it once again. So we're going to have to go around one more time, and again, doing so that everybody can get back around. And real quick, Carl, you want to give another real talk here to Lance real quick?
Yeah, Lance Mead, one more question here before this race goes back under green real quick. These guys are using steering wheels here that have force feedback. When these guys are hitting the wall and they're flipping these cars around, the wheels are actually getting a feedback. How does that work? How does the force feedback work on these things?
Oh, that's actually something that's programmed in. I mean, you can't just hook up a steering wheel or a controller to a game and expect it to work. It's something that actually has to be programmed in. And you mentioned that it rips on them. It can rip it. It can actually rip the wheel out of their hands sometimes if their settings are right.
Pace car to pit road, and a little bit of a check up. The 4 of Colson tried to guess it and try to anticipate it. Didn't do so successfully. Now Spencer Preet leads him off down into 1 and 2. It was that time high. 25 to go. 27 slides high. There goes the 4 of Brock Colson to the inside. The 12 of Mark Arthur to the outside to second. And now as Colson has to slide back in line to third, the 12 of Mark Arthur up to second in his DRTV machine. And now caution going to fly once again. Trouble back in the pack. 1 car around down in the grass. It is the 7-0 of William Perry is around in the grass. A self-spin in 3 and 4. Caution gonna fly once again.
00 of PDJ Zeiler also around. Heavy damage to the left-hand side of his car. He must have taken a pretty good look. I did not see exactly what happened here. I'm trying to see if I can get a look at it here. Actually, that damage was from a previous incident because he already had the damage when he went into his spin dry system here, and yeah. So once again, the 00 of PDJ Zeiler having another issue on the racetrack.
Is it too late to change my pick, guys?
It looks like he got loose on the bottom, and the 454 just coming up too wide with the 23 of Stephen Wetton. Ends up having the 00 bounce off of him, 00 back to the grass. So 2 simultaneous spins that time by. My pick picks up 2 spots in 2 laps. Mark Arthur will now be in second, but second is could be arguably not where you want to be. Maybe you want to be third. Sometimes that inside of the second row has a little bit of a better restart. That third starting position may be able to get to the inside of that guy that starts up top in number 2 spot. However, with the inside lane not being the preferred lane, and Brock Colson has been black flagged. Then there you go. I said and I touched on it that the 4 tried to anticipate that restart, and he tried to guess when Spencer Preet was going to go. He ended up passing him, which caused a big checkup. So race officials could deem that may have caused a big checkup in the field. So the 4 of Brock Colson, sitting in 3rd, will receive a black flag from race control, and he will be held for 20 seconds on pit road. That 4-car shots are gone just like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think he wishes this happened maybe about 2 or 3 cautions ago when we were down to maybe 4 or 5 cars. We're up to now 13 or 14 cars here on the lead lap. So yeah, that's going to put him, it's going to pretty much end his chances for any win tonight. But real quick, I just wanted to thank one more time Lance Mead from Small Town Computers at smalltowncomputers.com. If you need anything taken care of on your computer, he'd be more than happy to take a look at it. So once again, that's Small Town Computers. Lance Mead, thanks very much for stopping in tonight, buddy.
Lights back out on the pace car, so at least one more circuit around. You see the 24 of Cyandra get his wave around. He comes around the field on the outside lane. PDJ Zeller was given an EOL penalty at the end of that, so the 00 is officially the cause of the caution. So he will have to go not only to the end of the cars, he is still lead lap car being scored 12. Not going to be for much longer because not only is he at the drop to the back of the lead lap cars, but all the way behind are 10 or 11 or so lap cars that are on the racetrack still right now. Again, everybody is still on track but Jeremy Poole, who was DQ'd for causing 3 incidents. Other than that, nobody has retired from this race. All of these drivers have trucked this thing out. They all haven't completed 281 laps as our leaders work lap 282, but they have all stayed out and they have all stayed in this race. And now, gonna get another shot at it. 18 laps to go, coming up for this restart. 27 to Preet, the control car. You can't guess it as the 12, and now the race officials going to once again delay the caution as everybody tries to get sorted back out. So we're starting to run out of laps here, Carl, to have restarts. Once we get in with like 5 laps to go at the end, there's no green, white checkers. This race ends after 300 laps, so that's something that these guys got to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, there's no overdrive, as they call it in NASCAR. These guys here, once that 300 lap mark hits, that's it. Wherever you're at, that's where you're at the end of this race. Gotta correct myself here really quick, though. I kind of read my cue card wrong. That's smalltownpc.net. That's exactly what that website is. I apologize to Lance for that.
Update on PDJ Zeller, who we talked about before. We thought we were going back green. And he just gets into the 70. Contact between PDJ Zeller and William Perry under caution. Green flag up front. 27, Spencer Preet sails it off into 1. PD has been black flagged and will have to serve a penalty. Side by side for 3rd, it is the 4 of Brock Colson, who is still out on racetrack, even though we believe he was black flagged. And now he pulls it down to the apron, and he is going to have to go in and serve 20 seconds of penalty, single file. Up front, time to race it out. How much time do you have before they pile him up in the back? Mark Arthur knocking on the door in second, half a car length towards Spencer Preet up front, and only half a car length back to Ryan Borges from him, who sits in 3rd. The 03 of Richard Holiday also in a mix. All top 4 cars have opened up about a second gap over the rest of the field.
All these cautions have been helping Spencer Preet out considerably here. He's not having to push his car that hard. So every time they go back to green, it's only for a lap or 2. He hasn't been using up these tires, so his tires are still pretty strong here. I've been watching him. He's actually able to pull up to a 0.3 of a second lead. So Spencer Preet, my pick for tonight's race, looks strong for this, but Mark Arthur, I think he might have something to say on that.
And Spencer Preet is approaching some lap traffic. The 00 of PDJ Zeller, who was given an EOL and then black flag by race control. He is just in front of Spencer Preet now, down to back straightaway as the 27 continues to pull it. 0.4 of a second is the gap between Spencer Preet and Mark Arthur. 27 is going to go high at around, and that will officially drop PDJ Zeller off the lead lap and leave us with 12 cars on the lead lap. 12 of Mark Arthur continuing to chase, but Spencer Preet has picked up a 10th every lap since the restart, and the Kool-Aid machine go back to victory lane.
I don't know, but Evan, I got to tell you, I know nobody else heard this because it was in my ear. but that's the first time I can say that I've been booed out here on this race, doing this. That just wasn't right, man. Who booed me?
It's a competition for our picks. We got to pull for somebody. The 73 is the next car going one lap down. Randy Hefner on the inside lane. Mark Arthur has closed it in again. 0.4 of a second and 2 car lengths separate those guys, and now the 12 catches the wall there at a turn number 4. That's going to hurt his time, but he still picked up a 10th at the stripe. That was 11 laps to go. Spencer Preet trying to get back to victory lane in his number 27 machine, sitting on 7 wins in the 17 starts on this inaugural XCAL Racing Series 2014 campaign. And Preet this time by will get 10 laps to go.
Just a lap before that, the 12 car of Mark Arthur bounced off the wall. That's how Mark caught up with Spencer there. Spencer did the exact same thing coming off turn 4. Kind of bounced it off the wall there, slowed down his speed, and Mark Arthur was able to close it in. Mark Arthur paying back there and doing the same thing. Said, I don't want to take the lead that way, so he's going to bounce it off the wall, do the same thing. Lap car really may have come into play just now on that one there. Mark Arthur had to get on the binders hard to keep from getting into the back of the 70 car, but didn't hurt him too much in the time, but that 70 car could have caused a major catastrophe there with our leaders.
And he was just trying to yield high. Now caution flag gonna fly as one car up at the outside fence. It's Travis Brown in the 33 Bart competition karting machine in 1 and 2. Looks like he had some help. The 55 gives him a little bit of a tap as the Monster Energy 55 machine of Christopher Moody didn't get it down into the corner as much as Travis was anticipating. Travis ends up at the outside wall, and this is going to set us up for one last restart. When we go back green, the next flag, whether it be the checkered flag in about 4 after we go green, or if it be the yellow flag, the next flag is going to end this race.
So a bad night goes to worse for the 33 of Travis Brown. Travis Brown not having a lot of fun out here right now, bouncing it off the wall, running out of fuel, bouncing it off the wall again, getting spun around. Just not a great night for Travis.
And again, he talked about it when we spoke to him around that middle portion of the races. His night started good, and it started to go downhill. Had a couple of incidents there with some other drivers, ran out of fuel, and now getting turned by the 55, going down in through turns 1 and 2. And again, his night gone from looking good and has gone downhill, as he said, throughout the race. So now, again, one last restart to settle this. You see the 12 of Mark Arthur scuffing up the tires, swerving back and forth here under the caution flag. You got to think this 27 car is going to just pin that gas once the pace car even makes any hint at going left. He wants to just get away from this and then maybe even hope that they wreck behind him so that he doesn't have to deal with that 12. I got to think that 27's going to want to get out and get going real quick here.
Very good possibility on that, but my thought is, well, we're going to see what's going to happen here, but my thought is maybe he decides the other way around and decides he's going to fake these guys out because he's been taken off a little bit early. These guys are expecting that. Maybe he's going to see if he can maybe fake them out and take off a little bit later and maybe cause another bottleneck going into the turn.
2 laps to green from race officials. If they do not delay it and the lights go off this next time by, it will be 3 to go. Race officials are telling the drivers it will be 2 to go. So if that would be the case, they would have to delay the yellow flag, or rather delay the green flag by throwing 1 more lap of yellow. So currently working lap 296 is race leader Spencer Preet this time by. You're going to see the lights on that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. They have gone off, so unless race control delays it, it's going to be 3 laps, a green, a white, and a checkered flag. And with lap times, again, around 22, 23 seconds, this thing can be over in the blink of an eye. The 12 is ready. He wants to get going. Mark Arthur still scuffing the tires on the outside lane. Everybody is going to group him up real nice and tight. Let's see what happens and who survives. For the final time, pace car down pit road. The 12 has a nose. 27 to Spencer Preet on the gas. The green flag flies. 3 to go.
Looks like Spencer Preet's going to pull it right up there in front of Mark Arthur. He's not going to let Mark have the outside lane one bit. because he
Or
knows what's
just
going to
gets
happen
knocked
if he
out of
gets
line.
pushed down. If he gets pushed down to that inside lane, what we saw before could happen again.
And there it is. They're ignoring the caution. They're going to drive through it. We hear Spencer Preet still on the loud pedal as the sim officially throwing the caution, but per XCAL Racing rules, racing through it as the track has cleared. There's a slow car down on the apron. You're going to see Spencer Preet drive by the pace car there. They are still racing it out. 12 of Mark Arthur has company with the 03 of Richard Holiday. White flag, one more lap to go for the 27 of Spencer Preet. He has 7/10 of a second over Mark Arthur, who is going to come up a little bit short down the back straightaway as he is focused on now trying to protect position number 2. The 27 of Spencer Preet's going to work his way off turn number 4. Race win number 8 on the season. Victory lane. Spencer Preet takes the Go Fast Games 300 at Thompson.
The 03 of Richard Holiday actually edged out the number 12 car of Mark Arthur there for second place.
Yeah, the 12, again, we mentioned Mark Arthur was trying to hold off the 03. 03 gave him a little bit of a bump, opened up the inside. The 12 had to hang on to it, and the official gap between second and third as the 03 of Richard Holiday gets it over the 12 car. As scoring is going to cycle through, we don't currently have an accurate reading of that per the sim throwing the caution flag, but less than a 1/10 of a second are going to separate those two. Spencer Preet is going to go to victory lane. We're going to step away and take a quick commercial break to wrap things up. When we come back, the post-race show, going to talk to the top 3 drivers, maybe a couple more, and get you set for next week's race. You're watching the XCAL Racing Series Go Fast Games 300 from Thompson. The post-race show coming up next. Back live here at the Thompson International Speedway with the XCAL Racing Series live on LSRTV comes to a close. The Go Fast Games 300 is done, and Spencer Preet is the winner. Not sure if the ticker is running, but those results may be shown incorrectly. 27 walks home in first. 03 machine takes second, and the 12 of Mark Arthur will take the number 3 spot. And I'm down here on pit road with the 12 of Mark Arthur. Mark, first and foremost, I picked you to win the race. I thought you had a really fast car there at the end. You end up walking away with third. First, walk us through that last battle there with the 03 there coming down to that checkered flag.
Yeah, my car was definitely a long run car. I couldn't, on those short runs just killed me. My car was like super, super loose. I set it up for a little bit of longer run, and racing that hard with those with those short cautions there at the end, I absolutely killed my car and my setup. Spencer was pretty fast. He got mired back in the pack a little bit, and I don't know if you saw, I kind of got all a little bit sideways coming off the corner and allowed the 03 under me off the turn 4. That was kind of my fault trying to run hard.
No question you had a fast car, but tonight was a little bit of an adventure. You logged the fastest lap in the warm-up session with a 22.756, but you had to start at the back of the pack for failing to meet the minimum amount of practice laps required, so that had you on the grid in 25th. How'd you pick your way through this field to even be up there at the end of contention for a shot at that win?
A lot of luck and being very careful. I almost got in that first caution that Petey Zeller spun out, and I got into him just a little bit. I thought that it might have had messed the toe up on the car a little bit, but it didn't. When I went into pit, I didn't have any damage, so got lucky there and just really patient. I mean, that's what those cautions came from there at the end. It was just lack of patience, and I don't know what gets in some of those guys' heads. You know, they sometimes get bunched up like that, and I guess they think they're going to get all they can get while everybody's stacked up, and that's actually the worst time to try to gain positions is under those cautions.
Entering tonight, you were second in the championship standing. Michael Cozier Jr. was up at a number one spot. He did not show up. You walk home third. He did show up, but he had some connection issues with bad weather in the area, was disconnected from the sim. We did not see him all race long. 15 points was the distance. You led laps. You walk home third. You're going to leave tonight up on that top spot. What does that mean for you and your 12 team moving forward with 2 races to go?
It's kind of just a bit more on the season. I mean, me and Cozy have been doing that almost every single week. It's like I'll get an advantage on him, then I'll have some trouble, and then he'll get an advantage on me, and then just like tonight, he has trouble. So it's been exciting, I guess. I mean, a little bit nerve-wracking, but exciting nonetheless.
And moving forward to race number 19, the SDC Services 300 from good old USA International Speedway. How confident are you moving into next week's races and in the main next Thursday live, as always, on LSRTV? What are you expecting out of that one, knowing that the championship battle is in your hands here coming down to those final 2?
USA is actually my best track. I've had trouble at both of them, so I guess I'm due for one at USA. I hope. I hope I just don't get into trouble like I have in the first 2. The first one I finished second, I think, and then I had trouble in the next 2. So I hope I don't have that happen to me again.
And if we sponsors, shout outs, whoever you want to thank, and who makes it happen for you and the 12 crew.
Yeah, I want to shout out to Dorm Racing TV. It's a late sponsor I picked up for the last 5 races. That's who I have running on my car now. Unfortunately, I had some family vacation came up, and I had to have a sub for me last week, but he did pretty good bringing it home in third. Jeff Ramsdale, shout out to him too. Appreciate him coming in and picking up some points for me. And just my team, Aaron Hillebush and Aaron Keith, they kind of helped me with the setup a bit this week. I was scrambling because I didn't get home till Monday. That's why I missed all the practice time, and I was really scrambling and just found something. I mean, literally in the last 15 minutes before the session came up. So got a little lucky there, and that's it.
And sometimes luck is what you need here in the world of racing, where anything can happen. You come home in third. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck moving forward to these next 2 races and trying to close that thing out.
Thanks, Evan. Thank you, Laura, and everybody that's at LSRTV too. I love having you guys on board.
That is Mark Arthur. He's going to walk home third. He leaves tonight at the top of the championship pile, and will look to try to seal the deal, give himself insurance as we move forward next week with 2 races remaining in the season. Now sending it down to the other end of pit road, Richard Holiday is going to come home second in the 03, and Paul, you've caught up with him.
Yeah, we caught up here with the 03 of Richard Holiday. Amazing pass. That was very exciting on the last lap there. Tell us how you're able to get that done, first of all.
I don't know. I drove it in pretty hard, trying to maybe give him a little bump, but then he got loose by himself, and it was a drag race to the finish, and I just inched him I think it was about 2 inches.
From up here, it appeared that it was exactly 7 1/1000ths of a second, perhaps probably one of the closest finishes for a non-top spot ever in the history of XCAL. 7 1/1000ths of a second. It was an amazing job. Talk to us about the race. We talked to you a little bit earlier, but keep us up to date from when we talked to you about the midway point, how the car ran for you.
Yeah, the car was fast. I was on a bit of a different pit strategy, and I had to pit earlier. Then a yellow came out when Spencer was in the pits. That helped him out a bit, but I I got a wave around, got back up, and just passed my way back up to second.
Well, that's very, 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 very good run for you there. We were hoping the Dogecoin car would come in first, as all the XCAL members were eagerly awaiting the Dogecoins from your sponsor. But we'll have to wait till next week. Next week brings on USA. What are your thoughts towards racing at USA?
I've got a lot of laps there, especially from rookies. I quite like the track. It's very fast for how short it is, how tight the corners are. I don't know, I'm just looking forward to it.
That's good. Well, we can't wait to see you in your Dogecoin special, or Dogecoin special, rather, not Dodge. Dogecoin, you have any shout-outs or anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, just another shout-out, Dustin and Petey. I mean, they've been helping out a lot with the setups, just telling me tips, keeping me going. So, shout out to them.
Well, like I said, best of luck next week. Hopefully you can complete the trifecta for SPR and bring home a victory for that team to make it the first team with all 3 members winning.
I'd love it, Paul. Thanks.
Back up to you, Evan.
And that's right, we're down in Victory Lane, and I was deliberating if I was going to say, oh yeah, the Kool-Aid machine's in Victory Lane, but my impersonation of that is not the best. But the 27 walks away with the 8th win on this campaign. Spencer, first of all, congratulations. Walk us through that final restart. You were able to check out on him and get that thing done.
Yeah, thank you. Those restarts were getting really nerve-wracking at the end. We can't seem to keep it green. I mean, we ran so many long runs at the first 250 laps, and then down there at the end it just started to fall apart, and I was getting more and more nervous because I was thinking I can't beat them that many times on that many restarts. And I was able to get a good jump on Mark, and I started pulling him a little bit, and I think he was battling with Holiday, and I noticed he was pretty loose at the start of runs, so I was able to keep away from him. And I was a little nervous because I knew that the caution came out, and I was worried that there might be cars still out on track, and they all did a good job of getting out of the way for us trying to finish the race. And yeah, it was a great finish.
Definitely. When we talk about you in the championship battle-wise, entering tonight in the 4th position and quite a few points behind Aaron Keith in front of you. You had a nice, comfortable cushion over Alex Krasper in a 5th. So not in reach of the top spot, but only 63 back from Keith. You were able to pick up a couple points. So that may be something that you can look forward to in these final 2 races. But again, walk us through your night. You showed that you had the speed in warm-up. You were the 3rd quickest, started from pole position. That must have helped. And we know that the 27 car of yours was one of those that was out there leading some of the most laps tonight. What kind of strategies did you have to take? We saw a lot of mixed fuel strategy as far as when everybody came down the pit. How'd you get it done to find yourself out front at the end?
Well, yeah, starting on pole definitely helped a lot. I know Mark and a lot of the other guys had to come from the back, so that just kind of made it easy right from the start. And I was having a little bit of lag issues with my computer, and I was losing frame rate, and my first pit stop that I made really early was the cause of that, and I had to go get graphics fixed. And I came back, and I felt like I ran pretty conservatively from there on out. I didn't really try to push the issue with many people as I was trying to work my way back through the field. And the pit strategies kind of cycled through, and there was that one time I got to the lead and everyone else had pitted, and I right as I came down pit road, the caution came out, and that definitely also helped and trapped a lot of people a lap down. So that all kind of contributed to it.
Definitely luck on your side makes your night a lot easier. Still had to work for it there at the end. We move forward in this schedule here with only 2 races left. We head to USA for the SDC Services 300, and then before we get to Charlotte to close things out at the end of it all. How confident are you moving into USA, trying to pick up a couple more wins here?
I'm pretty confident going to USA. I think I can be a top 3, top 5 car there, but obviously Mark is incredibly fast at USA, and he is the one to beat every time we go there, and he's had bad luck, and I've lucked into 2 wins at USA this season. So I feel pretty confident there, but I feel like he's due for some good luck, and I'm due for some bad luck. So.
And definitely, well, you make it to Victory Lane. The mic's all yours. Sponsors, shout-outs, whoever you want to thank.
Well, of course, I got to thank my teammates, Michael Coase Jr. and Cy Andra, and they all helped this week for the setup, and I gotta also give another shout out to Michael Coase Jr. because he had a storm or something go through. He lost power a bunch of times, and his internet completely went out. And I spent most of the warm up trying to help sign him into the race, so if it came back, he could get back in. But it doesn't look like he ever made it back. And got to give a shout out to him. I also got to give a shout out to Derek Colson. I came across Derek Colson's setup, and it was the base that I worked off of to make this, and it was a lot quicker than what I had to start this week. So I got to thank him, and obviously I got to thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast.
Definitely, we appreciate the kind words. Congrats on a victory, and good luck moving forward to these final 2 of the season.
Thank you.
That is Spencer Preet. He's going to go to victory lane for the 8th time in his number 27 Kool-Aid machine, victorious after the Go Fast Games 300 at Thompson. Now, Carl Jones, you got an update on our award here with LSRTV.
Yeah, we have the High Octane Move of the Race Award, which is going to go to the 03 of Richard Holiday for that fantastic move he made there at the end of the race. So Richard Holiday is going to pick up an extra $5 in his pocket after tonight's race. Congratulations, Richard Holiday, on the move of the race.
That is pretty much going to do it. Before we step away, Paul, your thoughts on what went down tonight?
Just an amazing race. Just happy to see lots of long green runs. We got a green flag pit stop, which was absolutely amazing, and just that amazing pass at the end was totally awesome. Great working with you guys. First time I got to work with you guys, and I can't wait to do it again next Thursday night at USA.
Carl, your thoughts?
Once again, these guys just put on an absolutely terrific show tonight here from green to checker. Even though we had a bunch of cautions in between, these guys put on one heck of a race. So a lot of fun out here tonight. Great race. Congratulations to our winner, Spencer Preet. And congratulations, like I said, once again to Richard Holiday for pulling off the move of the race tonight and receiving the High Octane Move of the Race.
Doesn't get much better than that at the short track unless we are racing under the lights, so we'll talk about that. But a day race here at the short track, nonetheless, very exciting. The Go Fast Games 300 goes to Spencer Preet when it is all said and done. And like you said, Lance, great racing, and it makes our job up here in the booth a lot easier when the racing on track is very exciting, so we can talk about what's going on. And it keeps things entertaining, not only for us up here in the booth, not only for the drivers, but everybody tuning in as well. So that's going to do it. So thanks for Paul Coleman for joining us up here in the booth there on pit road and talking to some drivers tonight. Lance, thanks as always for joining us from Small Town Computers. Carl, thanks for helping me out in the broadcast booth here tonight once again. My name is Evan Pasoko. Laura Lawson making us get on air in the production hauler, pushing the buttons and making sure everything ran smoothly. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week with the XCAL Racing Series, and we say let's go racing once again for race 19 from USA.